Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. I don't know what's acting up with StreamYard, but the past couple times I've tried to go live for you guys, it freezes up on the countdown. And I guess it kind of it goes through on YouTube, but it freezes up on my end. I don't know, but what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you live on a Monday night, talking NFL, college football, and that's pretty much it. I would like to get back into some basketball and baseball starting next year, but like maybe after the college football season, definitely. But for right now, with the playoffs being set, with the teams already picked, we got bowl games coming up. This is what the main focus is going to be, and of course, trying to keep it, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. You know, what you know, um, man, this year's gone by quick. Truly, we're 3 days away. It's gone by quick, man. I'm almost 20 years old. In 3 days, I'll be 20, and I will officially have been on here for 2 years. And again, I'll say this, and I put a video out this morning, I believe. But thank you for all the love and support these past 2 years. It's been a heck of a ride. Um, and I'll save all that stuff for. I'll save it for Thursday. Let me just mute my phone real quick. There. I'll save all that stuff for Thursday because we'll celebrate 2 years. I'll do a big stream. We'll get you guys on. We'll look at some key moments, some memories from this past year on the channel. Maybe go back even to the first year. I know we kind of looked at it last year. How did the first year turn out? I thought it went pretty well. But it's going to be a good night for sure. You know, anyway, we got a couple things to dive into. We're going to talk a little bit more about the college football playoff. I talked yesterday about did we get the right teams. Now tonight, I kind of want to talk about, and I'll get into this more when I do a preview video for each the Cotton and Orange Bowl semifinals of how the teams can win the game, how do they match up, and everything. Like more on that to come. But go ahead and start talking about these games with Cincinnati and Alabama, and then Georgia and Michigan, and how do these teams win? How do we get an upset? How does Cincinnati beat Alabama? That's the upset. Michigan over Georgia, that's also the upset, although Michigan's pretty good, and Georgia did show some flaws against Alabama. Not going to lie. But before we get into that, can the Chargers win the AFC West over the Chiefs? Can they stop them? I talked about that at the start of the NFL season. I think Herbert is looking like an MVP caliber type of guy. He's looking really, really great. The other day, they get a much-needed victory. Not that you have to beat the Bengals, although it does give you an extra win on your record and everything. They have taken some tough losses. They have taken some hits. As they sit 7-5, they're 3-3 at home. They're really good. 4-2 on the road this year. The Chiefs are. Let me share screen this, and we can look at this together. And again, I'll get you guys on tonight too. So, can the Chargers take over the AFC West? I think that they can. And quite honestly, I will make a bold claim and say they do win the West. Not that the Chiefs are any bad or any less than they are, but I don't know. There's something about what's going on with this offense and Justin Herbert. It's incredible. They sit there 7-6 or 7-5. I'm sorry. They're 3-3 in home games. They're 4-2 on the road. They got a win streak of 1. Back in week 3. Or was it week 2? Well, yeah, week 3. They won 30-24 over the Chiefs. It was a scoreless first quarter. They outscored them in the second 14-3. It was 14-3 at halftime. Kansas City had outscored LA 14-0 in the third, and going into the fourth quarter, it was only a field goal game. I'm sorry, 17-14. Okay, not too bad. It's a close game. Chargers can do something. They outscored Kansas City and stopped Mahomes. In the fourth quarter, they outscored them 16-7. Can LA do this? Can they put an end to this Chiefs run? I think that they can, but I also think, and I see, shout out to everyone in the comments. Jacob Watson, the Chiefs are on a hot streak. That is true. That's where I'm kind of on the fence about this because Mahomes is not taking his foot off the gas. Andy Reid is an amazing coach, and he's got these guys together. You got all these amazing, talented players, and they're on a really, really good run right now. Haven't they won like their last 5 or 6 or something? I don't know. Yeah, win streak of 5. 5-2 at home, 3-2 on the road. They're 2-1 in their division. One of the only loss being to the Chargers. I mentioned they're 8-4. They're 1 win ahead of LA. Now, the Chargers don't need to win the division to make the playoff. They could be a wild card team. You know, because I think you also have to look at, okay, here's who's leading the divisions. Here's who's going to be your divisional champs or whatever, and they're going to go to the divisional round. And if they have a good enough record, they're definitely a first round bye, and they're not in the wild card. The Chargers are in good position. They could get a playoff berth and maybe get a wild card spot. And I think if they do that, they should have hung their heads. Oh, we didn't win the AFC West. We didn't beat the Chiefs. We didn't. So what? If you get a playoff spot, you could not ask these guys on the Chargers, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert, this offense. You couldn't ask. They could not be happier. Keenan Allen. Just to name a few guys on there. There's a lot of talent in LA right now. Jared Cook. You look at the defense. They run a 3-4 type. Kenneth Murray, Chris Harris, Nasir Adderley in the back. Derwin James. Oh man, just to name a few guys. Those are playmakers on defense. Looking good. They did beat the Chiefs once. Of course they did. Yeah. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to touch the AFC West, but I'm going to guarantee you that both the Chargers and the Chiefs will be in the playoffs. One of them is going to be the divisional winner and maybe with a first round bye. And I think the other is looking at a wild card spot. Or it's even possible, which I doubt it. I think that the Chiefs will win the division. Now, I don't know what they're going to end up having as their record. They might win 3 more games and only drop 1 and go 11-5. They might win, or I guess I kind of remind myself it's 17 games. 12-5, 11-6. I don't know. But it's a great possibility that the Chiefs win the West. The Chargers have enough for a playoff berth and a wild card spot, right? The Ravens up top the North, No surprise there. But what is going on with Joe Burrow and the Bengals? What? They lost their last game. They are 4-2 on the road this year. They're 3-1 in the division. They're 5-3 in the conference. 58 win percentage. When is the last time the Bengals were 7-5 and second in the AFC North? Right? And their losses aren't even that bad. Now, they lost this past week to who I mentioned, the Chargers, in a blowout. They just don't have that caliber of offense that Justin Herbert and guys have with the Chargers right now. They lost in a blowout to the Browns. They lost by a field goal to the Jets. They lost by a field goal to the Packers. They lost to the Bears on the road. That was week 2. Honestly, their losses are not that bad. You know, they've beat teams, though, like the Raiders and the Steelers. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. They got a few games left. They got 5 games left. We got 5 weeks of the season. They got the 49ers, the Broncos, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Browns. Do they win at home this weekend against the Niners? I think they could. Joe Burrow's got over 3,000 yards passing. He's got 23 touchdowns. Ja'Marr Chase has 958 receiving yards. 58 receptions and 8 touchdowns. Now, on paper, you know, like a 51% QBR for Joe Burrow. Honestly, I'm going to tell you what, he has stepped it up in year 2. If you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan, hear me out on this. If you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you should have nothing to complain about. Oh, but we want to be ahead of the Ravens. We want to be at the top of the... You're ahead of the Steelers. You're ahead of the Browns. What happened to the Browns this year? Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb and company, why are they at the bottom? The Bengals are second. Oh my gosh. Jacob says stepped it up. He was already good. I know he was already good. I'm just saying they took a step forward in this offense and everything, and especially a good pickup with Ja'Marr Chase. They've looked great. If you, like I was saying, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you cannot be complaining. I'm gonna make a claim right now. I'm not gonna call the AFC North or whatever, but I'm gonna say the Chargers do. I don't know. I mentioned the Chargers. They're making the playoffs. They might even end up winning the West over the Chiefs. They probably could. How about the Cowboys? Now, the NFC least, I still want to say, the teams have improved. The Giants are abysmal, 4-8. But the Cowboys, and this isn't even one of those, well, because of Washington and Philadelphia. No, the Cowboys are great. They have yet to lose a divisional game. They have only one conference loss in the NFC. They're 4-2 at home. They're 4-2 on the road. They are a winning team. And their losses, if I'm not mistaken, came early. Dak, man. First off, their first loss was the Bucs in week 1, 31-29. Then they went on a 6-game win streak. Then they lost at home to the Broncos 30-16. Now, I don't know what caused that, but they had a good run. They beat teams like the Patriots, the Eagles, the Chargers, the Giants. Then they beat the Falcons after the Broncos lost. Bounced back. They win by 40 points, 43-3. They lost by 10, 19-9 to the Chiefs. The Raiders have looked pretty good this year, too. They lost to the Raiders 36-33, and they just beat the Saints in the Superdome 27-17. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, which, let's be honest, if you're not a Dallas Cowboy fan, it's probably because you hate the Cowboys and the Cowboys fans. But if you are a Cowboys fan, you're sitting there high on the hog, and you're never going to shut up about this season, especially if you make a good playoff run. Let's say if they're a divisional team, could they make a run to the NFC title? Could they make the Super Bowl? I swear I will crap a gold brick if that happens. If the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl, hell have frozen over. I mean, holy cow. Man, this is crazy. I ain't got all the time in the world to talk about this. I do want to get you guys on tonight. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel here at Ballard Sports Media, covering college football, NFL, kind of getting into some basketball too. I'm going to try to – I definitely will be here for March Madness. Don't get it twisted there. Baseball's around the corner. It is the Cowboys and everybody else in the NFC East. Everyone get behind Dak. Watch him light it up. I want to hear from you guys. I mean, we talk about it every year, but can Dak Prescott win MVP? I think this is his better chance in a while. It's crazy. But there's a lot going on in the NFL. You got the Chargers, who could end up taking the West from the Chiefs, but we'll see. The Cowboys are looking great. Houston and Jacksonville suck. The Packers are 9-3. The Bucks are 9-3. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, Gronkaneers, we get it. The Cardinals are 10-2. The Seahawks are 4-8. I mean, there's a lot that's been flipped upside down in the NFL right now. And I mean, it's just getting out of hand right now in the National Football League. But all I can say is buckle up, because there's still another month and a half of football left to be played, and only time will tell, and a lot could still happen. But we'll see. I'll get you guys on. I guess I could go ahead and drop the link. How do these teams win the college football playoff? How do they make a good run? Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati in that order, the four teams. Alabama playing in the Cotton Bowl against the Cincinnati Bearcats, and Georgia playing in the Orange Bowl against the Michigan Wolverines. Alabama, how do they make this happen? I think if you're Alabama, number one, Alabama, how do they make it in? The O-line has to step up against the better defenses. If they play Georgia, if they play Michigan, Cincinnati, one of those three teams, and they're playing Cincinnati to start, all three of those have a great defensive front that can get through the offensive line, that can take them out. They got to step it up. Play calling and everything with Bill O'Brien has got to be on point. The receivers got to catch and make big plays. And I'll get to these games and preview them. I mean, you guys know probably what to expect on how these teams win these matchups and everything. But if Alabama can keep their O-line in check and protect Bryce Young, and they can just have explosive offense, then, you know, it's going to be a good case for them. I see you guys back there. Just give me 1 second. We'll continue to talk about this, but I'm going to run through these four teams real quick. Georgia, how do they win it? Quarterback situation. As good as the defense is, too, I'll tell you what, playing a team like Michigan, you're going up against a good blocking offensive line. That has been key for their offense, to give McNamara some time in the pocket, to allow Hassan Haskins to run the ball so effectively. That's probably going to be it will be the best offensive line they faced all season long against Michigan. They got to handle the big guys up front. The receivers they have got to catch and make big plays downfield. If it's Stetson at quarterback or JT or who, I don't know. I don't want to talk about the quarterback situation for UGA anymore. If you Georgia fans want to come on here and talk about it, that's fine and dandy. I don't care. You got to have playmakers. You got to outsmart the secondary of Michigan. And again, I'll get into all of this when I preview these bowl games, right? But for Georgia, they got to figure out the quarterback situation. Their O-line has to be on point, because they're going to be playing not as good as Georgia's defense, but one of the better defenses in football outside of Georgia and Michigan. It's looked pretty good. How does Michigan win it? Harbaugh's been on a mission all year. Aiden Hutchinson and the pass rush have been key. I mentioned Michigan's defense just now. The offensive togetherness, too. Cade McNamara, Hassan Haskins, all of these guys come together, glue themselves, and just stick together and just togetherness. Because that's what Harbaugh talked about when he beat Ohio State. This team has a lot of love and character and togetherness for each other. They stick together. They got to play like a family type of team against a tough Georgia Bulldog defense. I think they could. Cincinnati, I'm just going to say it. They're going to get lucky if they beat Alabama. The defense is tough and really good, but I don't know if it's enough to stop Bryce Young. I think they just got to hope that Bill O'Brien has a bad day of calling plays overall. But, again, and I'll get you guys on in just 1 second, but I will say if Cincinnati wants any hope of beating Alabama, I'm just going to call it like it is. You got to hope that they have a day like they had against A&M where they just got caught napping and an upset could potentially happen. You just got to hope the defense is asleep. You got to hope the O-line is out of sorts and you can get to Bryce Young. That's my opinion. Do I think that's going to happen? More on that later on with my predictions for these matchups. But overall, I talked about these 4 teams again: Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati. Georgia and Michigan in the Orange Bowl, Alabama, Cincinnati in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, happening New Year's Eve of this year, going on 2022, for the Final Four semifinals in the college football playoff. Who will be moving on to the national title and eventually taking home the Golden Crown? We will find out very, very soon.
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome. What's up? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you all. What do you guys think? First off, anyone got any thoughts on what I had to say about the NFL with maybe the Chargers winning the West? I mean,
I think Chiefs are going to win it.
Justin Herbert's looking really good. He balled out yesterday. Seen some highlights. And,
I liked him at Oregon. I don't know what's going on that he is just playing out of his mind right now. I love seeing this kid play.
I mean, he kind of it seems like he fits the NFL scheme and everything.
Yeah.
That's something I believe in.
Yeah. All right. Enough of the NFL. We all love talking college football. Jeff, roll tide to you. Happy holidays and everything. Good to see you on here as always. What do you guys think for all 4 of these teams on how they win the playoff?
Well, first of all, congratulations on winning the SEC title. Won it square. All credit to Alabama, all that.
Look, it was Pete Golden. It was all his doing. Come on, Ballard. Let's don't take nothing away from Mr. Pete.
Right.
Yeah, Saban did nothing. But these 2 matchups, Alabama versus Cincinnati, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not too interested in that. Just going to be honest. Georgia and Michigan, those are 2 good teams. So, yes, I think Michigan's a pretty good team. So, and Georgia, they have a little bit of a quarterback problem right now, but that wasn't the main reason why we lost last game. Main reason why is because Bryce Young threw for like 400 yards on us.
Mm-hmm.
And he torched us. And
Yes. I'm not really worried about that against Michigan, though. I mean, does anybody think Cade McNamara is throwing for 420 yards and 4 touchdowns?
Dude, I'm telling you, your offensive line can block. I'm not doubting your defensive front to pressure him or whatever, but I'm telling you, don't be getting it all twisted and sleeping on this team.
Here's the problem.
And I'm not even, as a Bama fan, I'm not sleeping on Cincinnati. They're good enough that I think they probably could beat Alabama. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, all right. First of all, look. Cincinnati, no. You should sleep on Cincinnati, but maybe you shouldn't. But Cincinnati's not getting
sleep on them. But
all right. I've been quiet.
Don't worry.
I've been quiet for 3 minutes here. Let me jump in. all you boys down in the land of cotton, good times there are soon forgotten. You don't understand. There was a major development in college athletics about 10 minutes ago. And I quote, Oskiwawa, Illinois, our eyes are all on you. Oskiwawa, Illinois. Wave your orange and wave your blue. Yes, the Illini came into Carver Hawkeye and kicked the fucking hated Hawkeyes right in the nuts. I hate Iowa basketball. I hate their living guts.
You hate Iowa.
I love it. I love it that the Illini went into Carver Hawkeye and stomped their ass.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and here's the other thing. Can any of you in the room or in the chat right now explain this?
Okay.
Hello, I am a defensive end. My team is in the playoffs of the college football. I have 14 sacks and 33 tackles. Hello.
Okay, cool.
I also am a defensive player. I have 14 and a half sacks and 32 tackles just for loss. Never mind my total tackles.
Hey,
I have one less. I have your total tackles. Your total tackles are one more than my tackles for loss, which are 10 more than anybody else in the country. Yeah. So why in the hell is Aiden Hutchinson invited to New York and Will Anderson is not? Explain that to me.
I don't know, Jeff, but I will say I do want to get a big.
Listen, man, the Terminator has 32 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, and Hutchinson has 33 for the whole damn year.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think we all know who's actually going to win the Heisman.
Yeah. Well, the Heisman's Bryce Young. Heisman's Bryce Young.
We already know.
I understand.
Vic is absolutely right. Vic is absolutely right. Cade McNamara can't throw for 421 yards against Georgia if he played him 3 times.
He only has like 2,400 yards on the season. So I mean, really only has about 100 and something more than Stetson. So
I think what happened.
You know what the most disrespectful thing
they are pretty close.
I don't know the best tight end award. What Jeff Whatser? You
Mackey.
Know that.
The tight end award is the John Mackey Award.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do they not give it to freshmen? So do they not give it to freshmen?
That is, Vic. Let me explain. This is one of those things that there's no such thing as we don't vote for freshmen. That's not part of the rules, but they never ever do. The Butkus, which goes to linebackers, the Mackey, which goes to tight ends, and the Remington and the Outland, which are the offensive linemen and the center. Those 4 awards, you'd have to Google the last time a freshman ever won it. The voters for those awards just never give it to a freshman. And it's going to probably end up being either Wiederbauer from Texas A&M or Charlie Kohler from Iowa State, who I hope wins it. But if you're asking me, I think Bowers he's just a stud.
Yeah. He could go pro next year.
Well,
but he can't. He can't.
I mean, yeah.
You know what we all here can agree on about Brock Bowers is when he walks across campus, if he sees some chick, he sees some Georgia girl at the coat, he just points at her and says, "You," and she just comes right over by. He's like Fonzie. He just snaps his fingers and she just comes right over.
That's what college athletes do.
Yeah. He just says, "I'll have you tonight," and she says, "Oh yes, thank you, Daddy."
I feel like any in a school like Georgia or Alabama, any college football player could do that.
Well, Brock Bowers, you're not going to hear me. You're not going to hear me bad talk.
Miss America.
Well, the sad part about it is Brock Bowers could do a lot more if Georgia's offense didn't suck.
Yes, I know. Brock Bowers for sexiest man alive.
Yeah. Is
he's
the next Gronk?
He's a new Gronk.
Yeah.
Oh, but he impressed the hell out of me. You're never going to hear me say anything.
I think that Paul Rudd won it this year, but
the only thing I don't like about Bowers is I haven't heard a word. It's been just dead silent about him transferring to Alabama. Now that's clearly what he needs to do.
What?
I need to write him and not type it out. Actually, write him in handwriting.
Oh, make sure you get your lipstick ready and make sure you kiss it on the envelope.
A personal letter saying, "Dear Brock, if you want to win a ring, haven't you figured it out yet? Rings are awarded in Tuscaloosa, not Athens."
Hey,
Well,
Jeff
so,
Webster, don't say that.
what do y'all
Don't-
think
don't
about
take
Todd
it.
Monken? What do y'all think about Todd Monken, along with Texas A&M? I can't think of his name. Being rumored to be Duke's new head football coach. It's on their short list.
I don't
Who?
think.
I don't think Todd Monken's gonna leave.
All right, hey Jeff. So I got an
Yeah.
idea. How about you go ahead and write that note, and if and if Georgia wins the national championship, then you'll
Oh God.
have to shove that note up your ass.
Yeah, Jeff Webster.
What?
Well,
So here we go. I'm gonna.
Hey,
I heard something.
Hold on.
I got to ask the Georgia fans here. Monken's your offensive coordinator, right?
Yes.
And Dan Lanning's your defensive coordinator.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
All right. Sam Pittman, when he left for Arkansas, was he just your line coach or was he the OC?
Yeah.
He was
He was
the line
he wasn't the
coach.
OC
Line
or the
coach.
line
Yeah,
coach.
just the line
Okay.
coach.
He was the offensive
Because
line coach.
the question I'm getting to is Saban bleeds like a hemophiliac. He bleeds coordinators. They leave all the time. But when's the last time Kirby's lost a coordinator?
oh.
Mel Tucker in 2018. And he lost James Caldwell.
Jim Chaney.
Yeah,
He fired James Cooley left to go to A&M, but James Cooley was not going to be retained as offensive coordinator.
Got demoted.
But the most current one is Mel Tucker.
Correct.
Yes,
Mel Tucker
the second highest paid coach in the college football rankings right now. Yes,
Right, but I mean he's the most current OC to leave under Kirby.
No, DC.
Jim
Oh,
Chaney.
but I'm sorry, I
Pittman.
misspoke. I meant coordinator. Like, he's the most recent coordinator Kirby's lost.
Right.
Yes,
We've only
under-
lost Mel
under
Tucker
Kirby,
and Sam Pittman.
Yeah, and Jim Chaney.
Hey, did you?
Sam
To
Jim
answer
Chaney, that's
real
correct,
quick-
for Tennessee.
Sam Pittman wasn't a coordinator.
Okay, to answer a question real quick, UGA boy, real quick, Mike Elko is who you were thinking of for Texas A&M. Okay, y'all can keep
Correct.
going.
Okay, yeah, Mike Elko.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a smartass about it or anything. I'm just saying that
Mhm.
Kirby, maybe it's because they're loyal. I mean, it just seems like it's not that they're not worthy. I'm not saying that. It just seems like Kirby's coordinators have stuck around longer than Saban's. Saban's coordinators get money thrown at them and they leave.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
Yeah, so where I was going with this is y'all were talking about Brock Bowers, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so with Todd Monken being a candidate, the last time we saw a lot of Georgia players either leave early to go to the NFL or some sort was when Jim Chaney left Georgia to go to Tennessee.
oh yeah, that's right. He left.
So I was asking, my question would be to y'all was, with the transfer portal being more of a hot topic these days, and if Kirby can't beat Alabama and Nick Saban, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that Georgia beats Michigan, and let's say Alabama beats Georgia again for the Natty. All right. And then let's say next year he doesn't. In between or somehow, do you think you'll see players start opting out of Georgia, such as a Brock Bowers?
Opting out. But
opting out, basically saying screw you, Georgia, I'm leaving. That's what I pretty much meant.
If I was a Georgia player right now, if I was a Georgia starter, and that means I'm good enough to start anywhere, so I could go pretty much wherever I want, pick the coach I want to play for. But if I'm Georgia and I've lost the SEC title and then I lose a rematch, I'm so pissed off and I want Alabama's ass so bad. I'm not leaving. I want to stay there because I want to be on the team that finally gets them.
Hey, I think there's a reason why we did lose Alabama, and I think it's because we dropped back too many players. You can't let Bryce Young light you up. You have to send pressure.
Yeah,
we need a blitz.
He doesn't light
Yeah,
you up, though.
we did that a lot more in the second.
Yeah,
You can't just drop people back. That's not going to help. That.
Well, you know something, Jacob, is Bryce Young only lights up defenses if they let him.
Right.
I mean, what I'm trying to say,
he doesn't do it on his own. But.
Bryce Young
Well, there were a couple times that Georgia was in the right defense, and they just got victimized by a quarterback who put the ball in the pie plate. I mean, that long sideline pass to Mechie on 1st and 20. That slant in on 3rd and 12 to Bolden. There were a couple times Georgia wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just they got beat by Bryce Young, and that sometimes happens. I mean, sometimes the quarterback just makes the throw, like Calzada for Texas A&M made some throws, and you can't defend the perfect throw. And when the quarterback is making those throws, you're in trouble.
Well, here's the thing about
Bryce
Young. Go ahead, Mike Vick.
Yeah, so we just gotta not let that happen next time.
Well, yeah, you gotta somehow try to put him on the ground.
Well, the thing is, like, how if I would, and I feel like you're the same way, Jeff Webster and Ballard, and I guess, yeah, those are the only 2 Bama people in there. But if you would have had to put an over and under on how many times Bryce Young had gotten sacked, if you would have put the over on 2, maybe 3. Like you would have made some good money. I really thought we were going to get. We didn't sack Bryce Young one time.
We didn't try to.
That is just crazy. That is crazy to me.
We didn't try to.
Now I have to admit that I didn't think there was any chance in hell that they were going to get 7 on him like Auburn did.
Oh no!
But I thought they'd get him
one. Not even.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Right. I thought they'd get him 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, just because they were going to keep coming, and they were sooner or later the numbers were just they were bound to get him.
And if you looked at the game, like, we rushed 3 most of the time, 4 occasionally, but when we rushed 4 and 5, our 2 linebackers went in the same gap.
They got to him, and they forced him to throw it away. And they forced him to throw it away. Yeah.
But our linebackers, it was like one linebacker went, and then the other one followed. Like,
and later in the game,
things up. Like, it was just so frustrating as a Georgia fan, because I really thought this was going to be our year to take down the Tide.
And it
still could be.
Well, I mean,
it still could be. It just didn't happen in Atlanta.
Yeah,
all right.
I know
this.
But
all right.
I feel like after looking at that game, like, sheesh, man, it was
okay. UGA boys.
That was difficult to watch, man.
Okay, well. Remember when Auburn beat us 40-17 in 2017?
Right.
Correct. And we came back and we beat them.
Scored them in the SEC title. Those things happen, and we can do that.
Well, you got to remember that game. The only reason
we got destroyed.
Auburn beat us was because of the running back.
I know.
Well,
and we made the adjustment.
Kerryon Johnson.
And the only reason that we lost that we beat Auburn that year is because in the SEC championship is because he was hurt.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys this. The saying is, I'm sure we've all heard it, is it's hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year because of a revenge factor. And trust me, when I
let your Oregon to Utah.
That's the Pac-12. So,
well, yeah.
I mean, if
Oregon,
which I don't know.
Speaking of Oregon, we need to talk about Mario Cristobal.
Hey, real fast, can I say this, and then y'all can let y'all talk about Oregon, if y'all don't mind, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Mark Griffin from Dog Nation was talking about this, and I thought it was very interesting that I don't know if y'all know or not, but back in 2018 when Bryce Young was recruited by Alabama, there was a guy named Carson Beck that is now the third, fourth string, somewhere lost in that depth chart. That's at Georgia. He was Georgia wanted Carson Beck and flipped him from Alabama, and that opened a scholarship up to Bryce Young to go to Alabama.
Is that seriously how it happened?
We should.
I didn't know. I didn't know that.
That's how Bryce Young ended up at Alabama. But carry on.
We should have let y'all have back.
That same thing happened with John Rice Plumlee.
Y'all have back.
Plumlee went to Ole Miss, and he was committed to Georgia.
Yeah, we should have let y'all have Fromm too.
Yeah,
should have let us have.
Well, hold on, everybody. We know that Slim's in here now. We know what he's holding inside of him. So go ahead and release it, Slim. We know what happened.
Oh hell.
Yeah, release it, Slim. Release it.
Excuse me while I rip this out.
I think the University of Miami is dumb as fuck.
Yep. I was hoping you were going to say
that.
Because they're paying $8+ million for a head coach with a 500 record. That's why.
But you got to realize it's the best thing that Miami's hired in the last probably 14 years.
Well, no, Mark Richt was a better hire.
Thank you. I was about to say.
He only lasted 2 years, so that was a plus.
Parkinson. Yeah, but you didn't. That's because nobody knew Mark Richt was going to get sick.
Yes. Miami should have known that Mark Richt was going to get Parkinson's and never fucking hire him. Come on now. Seriously?
No. That's what I mean. I mean, you can't say, well, Miami hired a guy that only lasted 2 years. I mean, it's not Miami's fault the man got sick.
He just announced not too long ago he just got Parkinson's disease.
He was there for
not even nowhere near at Miami.
Years ago.
The truth be told, he didn't want to run Miami down the drain because it's his alma mater. That's what happened.
Stop.
Why he left after year 2.
Bullshit.
Okay, hang on.
3 years.
Number one, he was there 3 years. Number two, 6 months after he retired, he had a fucking heart attack. And number three, he came out publicly last year about Parkinson's. Do you not think he probably didn't know about it before then?
Okay. Maybe so, but when he retired at Miami, he obviously y'all didn't know. But when you hire a dipshit and Manny Diaz, what do you expect?
No, wait, hold on.
Wait a minute. Name me a coach with outside of obvious exceptions that is going to do anything with a program year 3.
I don't know.
And there's very few of those exceptions.
I don't know, Mario. Chris
got to understand he's been there more than 3 years.
No,
hold on. Just not as a head coach.
Exactly. Head coach and coordinator.
He was not.
Totally different
maybe
things.
The recruiting. You never know. Maybe the recruiting. Maybe it was something. It's Miami, man. It's hard as crap to win down there these days. It seems like.
So wait, UGA boy.
Yeah.
Why do you think Mark Richt left Miami?
I don't know what the real reason was, but evidently it went south in the second year.
Yeah,
he was there 3 years and he retired.
Okay, can I say something? I think that Manny Diaz is a good coach. I think the dumbest decision Miami made is that they decided to hire a head coach before they got an athletic director.
Okay, why is that a problem?
Because now, what athletic director wants to go there when the coach has already been hired?
Okay, well, what about when an athletic director goes to a school that already has a head football coach?
Yeah, but I mean, this is different.
He can fire the man.
About one that they fired the AD.
I'm still waiting
about how hire a new head coach.
I haven't seen. If you want to talk about the masterful playing of the media, LSU and Notre Dame, how they handled the Brian Kelly thing, nobody saw that coming. That was out of nowhere. Notre Dame responded with what I think is a bad hire, but everybody at Notre Dame loves, and Marcus Freeman. But those were masterful media strokes. Compare that to the absolute bumbling, stumbling, mumbling, back and forth, change their mind, do this, do that of the Big Ten last year during COVID, how they bumbled up the Big Ten response. And then add to that the absolute media disaster this whole Miami fiasco has been. Miami is writing a new book on how to screw up media relations and make yourself look bad.
I tell you what, they better hope Mario works out.
Yeah, because this has got to be driving. This has got to be driving you crazy, Slim. It's got to be driving you up the wall.
Who in their right fucking mind, after seeing this group of monkeys trying to fuck a football, would want to come here after seeing that shit?
Look, I can't believe this, but I am going to rush to Miami's defense here. Miami got beat by Bama at the start of the season, so we knew that was coming. Okay, then they lose Derek King. Okay, but Miami goes. What did they win? 5 of their last 6. Is that right, Slim? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now let me finish my point.
They
won. Compare Miami winning 5 of their last 6 to, even though they beat Florida State, how Florida came down the stretch. Florida is an example of a team whose players gave up on their coach and gave up on the school. Miami's players were fighting like hell for their school, fighting like hell for Manny Diaz. They went out and salvaged what they could from their season and won 5 of their last 6, playing with confidence and optimism. And the administration let the fans shit on their coach.
Right.
And on top of that, okay, they lost the Bama game. Big whoop. I said, when I was talking honestly about the game and not trolling people, I said Miami was probably going to lose it. I said there were some things they could do to keep it close, put themselves in a position to win, whatever. But the beginning of the season started out rough. Now let's look at why. You brought up they lost Derek King for the season. They lost their starting center for the season, their starting running back for the season, a starting wide receiver for the season, and a starting safety for the season.
Yeah,
so that's a pretty good list of why the season started out rough.
Right, but my point is, the players were not failing to respond to their coach. They were clearly behind their coach and liked him because they rallied and won 5 of their last 6, and yet somehow the coach has to go through the public humiliation of what he just had to go through. I mean, they just shit all over him. What a terrible.
And then on top of it, you look at the games they lost. Okay, a 9-0 Michigan State, they were in a 1-score game in the 4th quarter. That could have been, if ball bounces the right way, you win that. They lose to Virginia doinking a game-winning field goal, and they lose to North Carolina on a tip pass in the end zone that would have won the game. Right. And you lost those 2 by a combined 5 points. So
they just had trouble closing the games out.
The only game they were not in was Alabama. That's it. Fine, you're not in a game. You're not in a game with a top 5 team in the nation. Okay, I didn't expect you to be with a brand new head coach year 3. And I
Manny Diaz did it because he taught the crap.
Well, that's what coaches do.
Don't dish it if you can't take it.
Okay. First of all, Manny Diaz, I think he's a good coach.
Manny Diaz is a dumbass.
No,
okay, you're a dumbass because there's
how am I a dumbass? So you're telling me you like Mario Cristobal over Manny Diaz? What a dumbass.
No, I don't like Mario Cristobal over Manny Diaz.
Yeah, you're a dumbass.
That's not what he said.
Mario Cristobal is more better than Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz has done jack shit in the last 3 years. Nothing. Yeah. Every fan base gets up here. Everybody from Miami gets up here and they whine and they cry and they sit here. Well, this is that. Boo, 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 boo. I hear y'all. That's why y'all suck, dude. Y'all go up here. Hold on. Let me talk. Let me tell you something right now. Miami,
before you talk
when you talk shit, you back it up. Okay, you're sitting here talking about us. Well, how about y'all fucking beat Alabama then?
Get Bama's dick out of your ass.
Yeah, whatever. Y'all go suck on Manny Diaz's dick, dude. This is what y'all love. Y'all love hiring mediocre coaches that should have stayed at Temple, right? That's what y'all like.
Okay, Manny Diaz. All right, look. So, all right. Do you think there's any person?
Idiot.
Wait, I feel like Slim has something to say about that.
Are we seriously having? Hold on. Are we seriously having a Georgia fan and Miami fan go at it? This is
over the phone.
This is funny as hell.
Well, all right. No, number one, and Jeff can back this up. I never once talked shit saying Miami was going to come out and beat Bama like Georgia did. So once again, get Bama's dick out of your ass before you talk to me.
Well, the Miami fan base did, buddy. And I can say whatever the fuck I want, buddy. Understand that. You and Uncle Lou and everybody think y'all can come in here and ruin everything and on everybody's parade. Dude, y'all think y'all are not that good. Well, y'all are this and that. Y'all are not that great.
My man UGA you're saying that UGA boy said, "Let me talk. Let me talk." That's all
this shit is poverty.
When Slim tries to talk, all UGA boys just keep clapping those lips.
Exactly.
Let me say this. Would you fired Bobby Bowden because his team wasn't good after 3 years? What if you fired Bobby Bowden because his team wasn't good after 3 years? What have you done?
Exactly. Jeff, how many times have you heard me say, I don't know if Manny Diaz is any good, but you don't know about any coach in 3 years?
All right. You said that consistently.
Jeff Collins, 3 years. He's, what is he? 3 and 24, 25, something I was about to get on. Ballard. Let's talk about the dumpster dump of the ACC right here.
Okay, first
y'all lost to a coach that retired at Virginia.
And Nick Saban's still your daddy. What's your point?
Okay, he's everybody's daddy.
Point even talking.
That was a dumbass comment, dude. Everybody's Nick Saban's daddy, evidently. Nick Saban's beat everybody.
Miami
only won 7 games out of the last 15 years.
Boy. Miami is hoping that Cristobal, who is an alum, who is a former player, who is from Miami, can come down there and keep some of that talent around, and they're willing to take that risk. But how they got rid of Manny Diaz, whether you like the decision or not, they handled it poorly. That was the point I was trying to make. They went about it in a bad way. And without an AD hired, why would you want to be an AD to come in if you don't like the Cristobal hire and you just saw the administration cave into the fan base? What kind of support do you think you're going to have? And do you want to have your name drugged through the mud in 3 years? So they just hurt their chances to attract a quality AD by the way they shit on Diaz.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. They handled it the way whether you like the decision or not, how they handled it was terrible.
And that's my problem with it. I mean, I don't like the decision, but I mean, whatever. I support whoever the coach is, regardless of who it is.
Right. Yeah, at least have the decency to excuse Diaz, thank him for his time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You may not, it may all be smoke and mirrors, but you're not publicly humiliating the man like they did.
Now, see, my problem with going with the alumni pick is Miami's been down this road before, and it didn't work out last time either.
Right.
Because they did it with Randy Shannon in 2007.
If you want to see what happens when the inmates get control of the asylum, don't look any further than Knoxville.
Yep.
Greg Schiano.
That's what happens when the administration lets the fan base and the alumni and the fat donor cats from the bank and the local real estate magnate, when they get to call the shots, you end up like Tennessee.
Well, you're talking about when they offered Greg Schiano, then they went out and hired Jeremy Pruitt instead.
Yeah, you got to have people who understand football, who understand how athletics, not just football, but athletics. That's what your AD is for. He's not just the head football guy. He's an athletics guy. And that means handling logistics. It means handling the media. It means handling parents. It means handling alumni. You're an administrator. You're a CEO. You got to have somebody in there who can look people in the eye and say, fuck you. I call the shots, not you.
And I said 6 months ago, I'd have all the respect in the world for the AD if he had done that in a press conference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never going to happen, but I would have loved to have seen it.
Look, one of the unsung heroes of what Saban has done at Alabama was Mal Moore, who was the athletic director when he took over, and Greg Byrne, who is now. Because they came in and they told the alumni that wanted this and wanted that, and the donors that wanted to be Alabama without paying the money that it would take to be Alabama, that, hey, we're going to bring a guy in, But look, it's going to cost you money. You can't just give us $1 million a year. You're going to have to donate $2 million a year. And you're going to have to do this. And you're going to have to not demand to play golf with the coach every Tuesday. And you're going to have, and he had the balls to go out and tell the alumni and tell the big donors that, say that there's a new way we're doing business here. And that new way wasn't guaranteed it was going to work, but it did. And once it started working, everybody got on board. But you got to have an AD with the backbone and the balls and the backing of the president of the university and the board of regents to do that. And what I'm talking about, and I'm sure what Slim would say, is the way Miami has handled this is they have now weakened the opportunity to have the kind of AD who can run that kind of show. So that will make and conversely, that will make it even tougher for Cristobal when he gets there, because he won't have the strong AD working with him. That's what I'm saying. But it's not, you can agree or disagree with the personnel decisions. I just think Miami handled it completely wrong.
Right.
Oh, I agree with you completely, because not only did they cave to the fan base, but they also caved to the alumni.
Right.
Yeah. Your Ed Reeds, your Ray Lewises, all these guys, and that's the problem. That is one of the downsides when it comes to a program like Miami that has ended up with so many big name NFL players. You know, they figure they're somebody too. We want our 2 cents taken into account.
Yes. So what does it take to be a good AD, or like a good hire for an AD?
Hire a good coach.
Okay, so hiring coaches, or
really and truly, the AD Miami had was fine, because 90% of what your AD does is raise money. And the AD Miami had raised more money than the last 4 ADs before him combined.
That's the point I was trying to make, Vic. If you were hearing what I was saying, I know I rambled a little bit, but what I was saying about Mal Moore, who was the AD in Tuscaloosa when Saban was brought in, is Mal Moore went out to all these donors that were already given big money and said, I'm asking you to double your money. And when you do this, here's what we're going to do with it. We're going to build this new weight room that's better than any NFL team in the country. We're going to build facilities better than anybody else has. We're going to blah, 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 blah. And that's going to attract the kind of players Coach Saban can win nationals with.
You know what
he had to be charismatic enough and believable enough for those big cat donors to give that money. And when they did, and it worked out. It doesn't always work out, but in Bama's case, it did.
What I really want to see Miami do is, I know people clown on this a lot, but I feel like they need their own stadium.
They've got to build on campus. I don't know if it's geographically possible, but if it is, they have to.
Well, if they have the money, then they can. And I really feel like it would help.
Number one, Miami does have the money. They're just,
I think so.
They don't spend it. I mean, they bring in just their medical center brings in like $2 billion a year. So I mean, they got money. They're just a bunch of tightwads.
So why not?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Slim. I mean, you can say all you want about they play at Coral Gables or wherever the stadium or the campus in Coral Gables and the stadium or whatever. You can't be Miami. You can't be the U and have 12,000 students that ain't cutting it. That's not cutting it. Whatever the solution is, it's got to be something that fixes that.
Well, why not build a stadium, Slim?
Well, with the way on campus, it's going to be next to impossible, because Coral Gables is a very, let's call it, uppity neighborhood. I mean, you're not allowed to cut your grass on Sundays.
Okay.
The way Coral Gables. You're never going to get a stadium in Coral Gables. That's
what I said. Like geographically, it might not be possible. It might.
Listen, I don't think they need it. They've never had one. I mean, a lot of people try and clown, and I get it. We all make jokes. But the Orange Bowl was built for the Hurricanes to play in. That stadium was built 45 years before the Dolphins even existed.
Well, let me ask you this. Why not just have the Dolphins, kind of like how the Braves did with their stadium, kind of took it outside of Atlanta. Why not buy out the Dolphins stadium and make the Dolphins go outside of Miami?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, though. They're playing in the Dolphins stadium for free. They're not paying anything to play there, just like the Dolphins didn't pay anything to play in the Orange Bowl.
That's what I would do if I was Miami. I would try to buy out that stadium and make the Dolphins.
And to Jeff's point about upgrading the facilities, I'll give Miami that credit. Over the past 6 or 7 years, they have. I mean, The Rock gave $60 million for a new weight room. It's magnificent. Jonathan Vilma gave them $30 million for a new players' lounge. Mark Richt, obviously, with the indoor practice facility. So they've kind of caught up as far as where they were lacking with facilities. And I'm still kind of iffy on if they even needed to do that, because they won for a lot of years without them.
Well, the game has changed.
And I get that. And you know, I just look at it. They won for a lot of years having some of the worst facilities. So it is possible to do it. Now, I'm not saying you're not right, and times have changed and they have to have it. Maybe.
This guy, first off, Derek Weiss. When I think Miami, I think first 48, not football.
What? Okay. I don't get it.
The first 48.
It's a joke only Ballard finds funny. Now and I'm very careful about what I say. I said when I said this, I was very clear about it. What Mario Cristobal has done so far, this looks like a bad hire. That's not saying that Mario Cristobal won't learn from what he did at FIU and be better at Miami. I don't know. And I said the same thing about Manny. In 3 years, I just don't know. Because 3 years isn't enough for anybody. I mean, name a guy that's won a national title, rebuilding a program in 3 years or less, outside of Nick Saban.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, outside of Nick Saban.
Yeah.
It hasn't been done. I mean, coaches have come in to build teams and won national
Mark Richt
titles.
would have done it. My man Mark Richt would have done it.
We're done what?
He would have brought Miami back.
Okay, see that.
I really do.
You Georgia fans really miss Mark Richt, don't you?
No, I don't miss Mark Richt at all, but I feel like he was a great coach.
I'll say this.
And Miami's great. I feel like he was bringing Miami back.
Yeah,
I can say this, and I think it's indisputable. Mark Richt was a better judge of quarterback talent than Kirby Smart is.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a gift. That man straight up said it. He didn't even hesitate. He's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, Tom, Dick, and Harry were better quarterback coaches than Kirby were.
I have to tell you,
Kirby Smart's listening. I just want to give him a message.
You don't need to hear things like that. You just a boy.
Hey, you know, Mac Jones is playing right now for the Patriots. Guess how many pass attempts he had in the first half, the whole first half of the game?
Oh God!
Well, he only threw one in the first quarter.
Yeah, for the whole half. How many pass attempts?
I don't know.
Probably five.
Double it. He's got two.
Yeah, he's
what?
The wind is blowing. The wind is blowing like 40 miles an hour in that stadium. They said.
Yeah, but because
they're not even trying to kick or punt going in the one direction.
Yeah, just one pass attempt in the whole first half.
Oh yeah. Apparently, if you're watching on TV, if you're going from the right to the left, they're not even trying to punt the ball. the one kickoff most of the times we see the kickoffs go in the end zone. It landed on the 18.
Yep. The last punt they had
You know,
28 yards.
Like if you're playing into a gale, I don't know, but it was interesting that the one Patriots touchdown was Mac Jones from Alabama handing the ball to Damian Harris from Alabama for a long run up the middle for a touchdown.
You want me to ruin your night, Jeff? Tom Brady's fixing to win MVP at 44 years old.
Woo!
Oh.
He's not winning the MVP.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
He's
Who
far
else would
away.
win it?
Yeah, exactly.
What do y'all think about Jake
right
Fromm
now.
about to start at the Giants?
What?
He's not doing well.
Start?
Who?
Jake Fromm? Start?
I didn't know Jake Fromm had left from the Bills.
Never heard of her. Never
Yeah.
heard of her.
Jake Fromm is supposed to start for the New York Giants.
Start?
I don't think-
When
I
did
don't
he
think-
What
leave the
happened to
Bills?
Jones?
No, he changed teams. He's on the Giants.
Yeah, what happened to Daniel Jones?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's injured.
Maybe
My
they were
man,
tired.
Jake
Who's
Jake
back?
Fromm about to come out there and throw for 400 yards. Watch.
Maybe they were tired of Daniel Jones pulling his Eli Manning routine and throwing interceptions.
And what happened to the backup to Daniel Jones?
I guess he got hurt as well.
What happened to Jacob Eason?
He's on the Colts.
He plays he plays with the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where's Aaron Murray? Oh, I forgot. He's in the announcing booth.
Cut it.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
He didn't cut it. Okay.
Hey, don't make fun of Aaron Murray. Aaron Murray is a good guy.
Didn't cut it. I know.
Hey, Jeff, have you noticed how all that Matt Stafford winning a Super Bowl talk has died out very quickly?
Yeah, it's died on the vine. Yeah.
Well, you got to think. Last year, the Bucks weren't in contention for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What?
What do you mean? They made the playoffs. Anybody
can
in the playoffs
make
is
it. Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, they weren't favored. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
What? No,
the Rams will make the playoffs.
I wouldn't have expected Tampa to be favored. I mean, honestly, I said Tampa would make the playoffs with Brady because he wasn't going to throw 30 interceptions like Jameis did.
Right. What I
But,
was just trying to say, like, is the Rams will probably make the playoffs. So
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt that.
yeah. So who knows? Matthew Stafford might get a ring.
The Lions damn sure ain't.
Hey, you know what though, Matt, and somebody pulled this up. I can't remember what video I was watching. Mathematically, Detroit can still make the playoffs.
What?
Oh,
What?
Don't give
no.
them hope. That's
I mean,
Hell no.
they need a bunch of people to take a bunch of losses, but mathematically they're not out of it. I was like, that's ridiculous.
What?
But I mean, it makes sense though. Somebody from the NFC East is getting in. I mean, have you seen that shit show lately?
But you've seen the Lions, right?
Yes, I have.
Aren't they still? No, they just won. They have one win.
They have
And they
one
can
win
still-
and one tie.
They beat the Vikings, and I love that. God, I hate the Vikings. What I liked about it was that the first thing Dan Campbell said in the press conference is he held up the game ball and he said, "This game ball is going to Oakland High School."
Oh yeah.
Which is the place where the 4 kids got shot dead.
Oh yeah.
They gave the game ball, and then later I found out that all 22 starters that started that game for Detroit, all 22 of them took off their cleats, signed their cleats, and they're going to build a special case and a trophy case at the high school there and display all 22 sets of cleats. Which, that doesn't bring those dead kids back to life, but it's a nice gesture,
One good thing that happened today is that they arrested they found their parents today.
Yeah. The parents have been charged with involuntary manslaughter, which is the toughest they could have been charged with.
And that shit
They
still boggles.
gave them the stiffest charges they were allowed to under Michigan law.
Yeah.
That shit still boggles my mind. And a lot of people are going to go along with it because that's a tragedy, but that's going to end up getting implemented in a case where people are like, what the hell? Why are you charging somebody else for a crime that somebody else did?
I mean, yeah, but they weren't supposed to buy him a gun.
They didn't. The kid stole the gun.
Oh,
right. But I think if I understood correctly, I think the prosecutor is going to intends to prove that the parents knew he had the gun on his person or had taken the gun and put it at the school and didn't tell anybody, didn't take it from him, didn't tell the school. So therefore they knew, they aided and abetted the crime by knowing the weapon was there.
And if that be the case, then right. But I mean, I try not to judge any of that until it's in court. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, let's let it all play out. I'll wait and reserve judgment till we hear. But I mean, I know where Slim's. I understand where Slim's coming from. I get it. Yeah. Well, I know this. The families of the kids that were killed and the 7 others that were injured are all about 2 or 3 years from being very wealthy because they are going to sue that fucking school district right into the ground for failing to prevent this from happening. And they don't. And remember, this will be a civil case, not a legal case. They don't have to. They don't have the school can't just prove that they were innocent. They've got to provide 51% of the evidence that they didn't know this was going to happen. Otherwise, they'll lose a civil case, and their lawyers won't let it go out. I mean, they'll settle for. I mean, these families are going to get millions in comp. I mean, that doesn't replace your kid, but I mean that school district, they're broke. Just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So what's up with this Harrison Bailey to Georgia Tech deal that Sea Dog's talking about?
Well, he's saying that because Harrison Bailey, he kind of wants to go to an in-state school, and well, he probably isn't going to make it to Georgia. So now they're saying that he might go to Georgia Tech.
Speaking of Georgia schools, did anybody see the highlights of the East Tennessee Kennesaw State playoff game?
No, who won that one?
East Tennessee was losing 31-17. Okay. This is the second round of whatever division they're in. It's the second round of the playoffs. 3 minutes to go, and Kennesaw State led 31-17. So they go down to get a touchdown, 31-24. East Tennessee does the onside kick, and they get it. 26 seconds left, they score a touchdown, 31-30. They go for 2. They get it. They're up 32-31. Kennesaw State gets the ball. 18 seconds left. Goes all the way down the field. Kennesaw State with a chance to reverse it all with a long bomb, Hail Mary, but it doesn't work. And ETSU wins 32-31 in a wild one. The highlights, the last 3 minutes, called Crazy Ending in Playoff Game or something like that.
From PC.
Is on YouTube. It's a wild final 3 minutes.
I found it.
Oh, it's probably from PSC.
I've got a lot of respect for a coach that'll do that. Because the Ravens just did the same thing against the Steelers. Yes, I got a lot of respect for a coach that's going to go for the win instead of tying it up, trying to send it to overtime or something.
That's what happened. Slim, that's what happened 2 years ago when Iowa State went to Oklahoma when Jalen Hurts was the quarterback. And Iowa State rallied and scored to make it 42-41. And there was zero. The clock was literally 0-0-0. They scored literally as the clock ran out. But because it was a touchdown, they're allowed to, of course, go for the extra point. And Campbell went for 2 instead of the kick for overtime, and he didn't make it. And Oklahoma beat him. I liked that decision. I liked that decision. Go down fighting.
Yeah. I mean, that's what got Miami their first national title. Tom Osborne decided he was going for the win instead of the tie.
Yep.
I mean, and I can't help but respect that.
Yep. He went for 2 and didn't get it. Yep.
Well, that was a rare move back then.
It wasn't a rare move for Tom Osborne, though. I mean, he
not a rare move.
I'm watching the
that game literally would have ended in a tie because there was no overtime at that time in college football.
You're right.
So it would have been a tie.
And that game ending in a tie, Nebraska would have been national champs by default.
Nebraska would have won the national championship with a tie. Yep.
See, some rule changes I'm all for. Let it go to overtime. Fuck it. If it wants to go to 14 overtimes, let it. I don't care.
Well, now you have to have it at the 2-yard line after 3 periods.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. Even though it helped.
Look,
that rule has twice helped me this year. It helped the Illini beat Penn State, and I love that as an Illinois native, and it helped Alabama beat Auburn. But I hate it. Just because it helped us doesn't mean I like it. I hate that 2-point rule. I think the overtime should be both teams get a possession, just like it used to be. You both get a possession, but then like starting in the third overtime, if you get a touchdown, then you must go for 2. But the hell with this starting with at the 25, because if you run the ball for 2 yards, run the ball for 2 yards, run the ball for 2 yards, and it's or it's 4th and 6 from the 19, what do? You trot the kicker out there and he kicks a 36-yard field goal and the game's over. Start with the ball on the 50.
There you go.
Yes.
Then you got to
or
do
the other
25.
And I'm starting to hear more of this, and by God, I hope it happens. Stop throwing people out of games for targeting. Jesus Christ.
They should do the NBA thing. First time you get it, you get like a yellow card, like they do in soccer or whatever. 15-yard penalty. That's your first targeting call. If you do it again, then you're out.
See, I don't even agree with that because you're starting to see more and more. Well, running backs have always done it, but you're starting to see it more out of wide receivers and putting their head down trying to draw that penalty because defenders are taught to go lower.
Well,
so
and I don't
make it a 15-yard penalty and be done with it.
And I don't like the ballerina dresses we put on the quarterbacks.
You don't like the tuck rule?
Oh yeah, that. No. Oh, wait, hold on. That
and in the Iron Bowl, I mean, they got Dallas Turner for a roughing the quarterback against T.J. Finley. That was just, I'm sorry, it was just ridiculous. And I would have said if it'd been the other way around, if it had been Bryce Young being sacked, I would be on here tonight telling you it was a ridiculous call. Just because it doesn't matter what color the uniforms were, it was a ridiculous call.
And because of that, now quarterbacks are taking advantage of it, like Kenny Pickett doing this ridiculous fake slide.
And that Kenny Pickett with that fucking fake slide, I wish somebody had fucking ripped his head off after that.
That makes me upset. That makes me upset because if they were to hit him, he'd get a penalty. So
exactly, and that's why I think if you're going to go for a fake slide like that and you get them, fine, you got them. But next time your ass is fair game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like in Pickett's credit, great deke move. Great move. But now next time you come around the corner and I see you, I'm just going to say, hey, I didn't know whether he was going to fake it or not, and then blow his ass up.
That's your ass, Mr. Postman.
They need to make a rule change that you can't fake slide or whatever.
Well,
I don't mind the slide rule. I get it. If the guy slides, if he goes feet first, you can't come after him. I get it.
But if you're gonna trick somebody out like that, keep the flag in your pocket when he gets lit up.
No, I'm talking about,
because then he has declared that he's fair game because he's faked it once, so he's saying. I'm just going to, I might be faking you again. Who knows? And at that point, it's to me, it's your fair game.
Because you're not allowed to try and fake out a team on a fair catch. If you do absolutely anything that might be construed as a fair catch, that's it.
And they call it. Yep.
Well, I was saying that I think the fake slide should be illegal, not the slide.
Right. Well, I mean, like Slim said, when I played all those years ago, which was give or take 1,000 years since the extinction of the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
About 19-2.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and nobody was sure what the calendar was yet, so we weren't really sure what year it was. But anyway, when it was a fair catch, you used to have to do a fucking jumping jack. I mean, you had to wave your arm and go fair catch, and go fucking crazy. Now the guy just kind of lifts his index finger and they call it a fair catch.
You had a lot of guys try and fake out a fair catch. Teams would stop and they'd take off with it.
Right.
I mean, that's what led to that.
Yeah, but yes, because back in the day, it had to be clearly demonstrated you were making the fair catch. And the coaches would tell I remember the coaches yelling at our guys saying, get your damn hand up. Make sure he absolutely sees you. Don't leave any doubt whatsoever that you're calling the fair catch. Now, you could do that and know that the ball's going to go over your head or go off to the side and not try to catch the ball. That wasn't considered unfair because you're just trying to fool the coverage into where the ball is. But if you're going to actually catch the damn thing, if that's your intention and your intention is to catch it and make a fair catch, you better let everybody in that zip code know that that's what you was going to, that used to be how it was.
Oh, well, now you just put your hand up.
Now, yeah, right. Now you just kind of wave like you're trying to get the beer guy's attention, like, hey.
Well, I mean, how many of them are even returned anymore?
Very few.
Punt returns are returned a lot.
Because Slim will tell you when you're at a ballpark and you want to get the beer guy's attention, you don't have to wave. All you got to do is just kind of look at him and just shake your head a little bit. Those guys are good. They're making money on it. They're making money on how many beers they sell. If you even look like you want one, he's sending one down the aisle to you. I mean, that's how that works.
Yeah, well, punt returns are still returned a lot. Kick returns are not.
Y'all ever see? This was a few years ago. Did you ever see this one?
Oh yeah. The guy didn't even put his hand up. But
Arkansas is so stupid. He's like, "Hey, where are y'all going?"
Yeah, now see that I didn't mind that because he didn't do anything to make it look like he was making a fair catch.
Right.
He just relied on Arkansas. Right.
That's fair game.
Yeah, I agree.
But you know what's so funny though is that move that he did. He might not have put his hands up, but Arkansas looked at him just standing there like he was just going to take it and we'll play from this yard.
He caught him napping. He don't assume. Yeah. Now see, my favorite one was probably about 10 years ago now. And I can't remember if it was in college or the pros. I think it was in the pros. A wide receiver ran to the sideline and acted like he was talking to a coach, but stayed in bounds, and nobody covered him.
You talking about Johnny Manziel?
No, it was a wide receiver.
Well, I remember seeing a play him doing that a couple years ago.
I mean, all it was, if you wasn't paying attention, you wouldn't have noticed. It was somebody standing just barely in bounds, hands on his hips, arms going like he's talking to a coach, and he's got a coach right in front of him. And then when they snap the ball, nobody's covering him. He takes off down the field wide open.
Well,
yeah, I want to say it was like Utah when they were playing Oregon one year, wasn't it?
It may have been.
Yeah, well.
Like I said, it was probably about 10 years ago now.
And every now and then you'll see the fake spike the ball, run up like they're going to spike it, and then they don't. You know, and they try to run a quick. I can't remember who was it, Peyton Manning or was it Marino? One of those guys was the first one to do that. To get it on a Monday night game.
Another area. There's a.
Yeah, I didn't find out until this year, and I had to.
The wide side.
I had to look it up afterwards that in college you couldn't spike the ball with under 3 seconds left on the clock, which is dumb as shit.
Yeah, there has to be 3 seconds.
That's so dumb. I mean, who cares? If there's 1 second on the clock, let them spike the ball, get a play.
Y'all remember when Tennessee was going to lose to Arkansas? This was I know it was in the 98. Might have been 98, 99.
Oh, tripped over him.
Tennessee, Arkansas was going to spike the ball. Clint Sterner was the quarterback, and he fumbled, and Tennessee recovered and kicked the field goal and beat them.
Yep.
I know my old boss has still got the newspaper clipping up in his office because he went to University of Memphis. That game in '97 that when Peyton and Tennessee came into Memphis and lost.
Was it Memphis State back then? When did they go from Memphis State to Memphis?
Was it 1991?
Honestly, I want to say the 70s, but I could be completely wrong.
I think it was 19.
Because I think when I was a Bama student, they were still Memphis State because the proven liar and cheater Dana Kirk was their basketball coach at the time, and I think they were still Memphis State in the late '80s. But at some point, they just became Memphis.
Okay.
Dana Kirk is far from the shadiest basketball coach they've had. I mean, they had Calipari there for a while.
I looked it up. 1994.
94. Okay, yeah.
I know it was Memphis State when my grandmother went there because God, until the day she died, she reminded everybody of it. It's Memphis State.
And it was Memphis State when the last time Florida played a non-con game outside of Florida. They played Memphis State. That was their last team they played outside of Florida on a non-con game.
Yeah, that Florida UCF bowl game, whatever it's the.
That's a good game.
It's the Charmin wipe your ass paper bowl or whatever it is.
I mean that game's a little interesting, but I mean Florida gave up.
Where is it at? Where is it at?
Probably somewhere in Florida.
Probably. It's
That's what I mean. Like,
it's in Texas.
Oh,
it's the Gasparillo Bowl, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
I think that's in Texas.
It would be funny. It would be funny if that was like the Fenway Bowl or something. And here's these two schools that are about an hour and a half apart, and they got to fly all the way up to Boston to play each other or something. That would be that would have been funny.
Oh, it is in Florida.
It is.
I think it said it was. It said Raymond James Stadium. Oh yeah,
that's in Tampa.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in Florida. Honestly, I don't think that game's going to be very interesting because I think Florida gave up on their season 5 weeks ago.
Yeah. They got jacked up against the Noles, but they won't be. Yeah, UCF will want. This game will matter a hell of a lot more to UCF than it will to UF.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I need to make
UCF starting quarterback? It could have been their backup is transferring.
Okay, I just need to make sure it was actually Raymond James.
Yeah, Raymond James. That's Tampa Bay's home stadium.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. That's where Super Bowl was last year, where they won.
Sure was.
What was the
only team to ever do that? By the way,
Raymond James is the new one, but the old one, the old Sombrero. What was the official name of the old Sombrero? Was it just called Tampa Stadium or whatever?
Fuck it! Don't even get me to lying. I mean, it's been Raymond James since I was a little kid.
Was it the Sun Bowl?
Well, no, but I mean, the stadium Tampa plays in now is like only about 10 years old, right?
They had it since 2002. Raymond James. That's been
Raymond James.
Yeah, because they originally played in a facility that was nicknamed because that's what it was shaped like, the old Sombrero. And the joke about it was that it was so poorly built. I mean, here's Tampa, and guess what it does in Tampa a lot? It rains.
Sure does.
And they had that field could not handle water. If they got so much as a sprinkle, they'd have puddles of water on the play. And the rest of the NFC teams used to complain, saying it was unsafe for their players to play on it. It was an unsafe playing surface, and it rains like hell in Tampa sometimes. And you'd watch these old games, and it would just be a fucking mud bowl.
Well, I mean, you're talking. I mean, they built that thing back in the 70s. So to call that unsafe back in the 70s,
right?
I mean, come on, the Raiders had razor blades in their pads. I think that field was the least of your worries.
Well, yeah. Look at Veterans Stadium. What's his name for the Bears tore both his ACLs on the same play. He tore both knees because of the turf at Veterans Stadium.
The Bears.
Tampa Stadium. Yeah, that was the stadium before.
Yeah.
Oh, is this called Tampa Stadium? Okay, I mean, I knew there was an official name. It was just nicknamed.
I mean, some of them change a lot. Like, I mean, just as long as Miami's been playing in Hard Rock. Hard Rock's the third name just since they've started playing there.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was Landshark Stadium for that disgusting ass beer.
Why is this?
All right. It's like Nate the Great's in here. I mean, they call it the Big House in Ann Arbor, but that's not really the name of the stadium. The stadium is not called the Big House. I mean, it's Michigan Stadium.
Yeah.
Right. And the frozen tundra is really Lambeau Field.
Right.
Soldier Field, though, is really Soldier Field.
Yeah.
You go to it. There's a big, huge ass monument you walk right by as you go in, and there's all sorts of stuff saying, dedicated to,
1924.
Nope.
That's when it was created.
Soldier?
But
1924.
And
the problem with Soldier. Well, none of you here are familiar with Chicago, so I won't say anything. But I mean, you wouldn't know what I was talking about if I said it. But just where it's at now,
it's so small.
If you could have looked in a crystal ball and said, "Look, by the late 1970s, here's going to be the situation and how the city's going to look." Because for the last 30 years, Soldier, nobody who's Bears fans wants to move it. I mean, everybody likes it. They like where it's at or whatever. But you could have it in a better place. I mean, it could, if you were to right now, like you were playing a computer game like Sim City or something like that, and you were building the city of Chicago, where would you put a NFL stadium? You would sure as hell not put it on the south side of Grant Park on Lakeshore Drive.
Right.
Well,
that's not where you would put it.
That's pretty much every stadium, pro and college, though.
Right.
I mean, the Orange Bowl was in Little Havana. That was not the great. It still isn't the greatest
Slim
part of town.
Wait, Slim Shady, I got a question.
I might have an answer.
I heard that the Miami got rid of the Orange Bowl because it got old and started breaking down and got weak. Is that true?
It needed to be renovated, but it could have been renovated. But there was Donna Shalala was president of the university at the time. She didn't want to put any money towards it because she was putting everything, including the football money, into the medical program. And the city of Miami had mild interest in doing it. The people wanted them to keep it, but it didn't get done. It was a whole lot of politics.
How did Joe Robbie have anything to do with those decisions?
I don't know. Honestly, even beyond me being a Miami fan, it's actually kind of fucked up that they tore down the Orange Bowl, because
it was so historic.
That was like the 5th or 6th oldest college football stadium.
Oh yeah, they built it in the 30s.
Yeah, but it was by all accounts, it was. I mean, it needed some major work. I mean, it
did, no doubt.
Yeah, that's not to blame anybody. You get a stadium that old, old buildings need work. I mean, it goes hand in hand.
I mean, I was in the Orange Bowl for a game that was packed out. And that place, literally, when they say the stadium was rocking, that place would be rocking.
Yeah.
You could feel the damn thing moving.
Yeah. Well, Traveling Fool says that he misses.
I have to tell you that both as a fan and as a person and professionally, I've been in a lot of stadiums in my life. And easily the worst big time facility, I don't mean a high school stadium. I mean, a major level, college level, or professional stadium. Easily the biggest dump ever was the Metrodome in Minneapolis. That place was an absolute fucking disaster.
Isn't that the one that the roof caved in from all the stuff?
The roof caved in twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the roof fell down.
Yeah. That place, the seats, where the concession stands were, where the bathrooms were, where the parking was, where the interstates were, and every single thing about that place was shit.
Well, they built a new stadium 5 years ago.
Yes, Target Field. Target Field for the Twins, and now the Vikings play in the Bird Cage, or what they call it, the Bird Cage, whatever the real name of it is. But trust me, the Metrodome in Minneapolis and Old Comiskey, not the new piece of shit the White Sox playing, but the old one that was in there in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, whatever. Those two were the worst facilities ever. I mean, just absolute junk.
Now, I'll say this. I've gone to games in the Orange Bowl and Hard Rock. Hard Rock is definitely a more comfortable stadium to watch a game in. I mean, hands down, without a doubt. Because like most college stadiums, the Orange Bowl had bleachers, like I'm sure they do at Bryant-Denny and most other college stadiums. Hard Rock, like most modern NFL stadiums, has stadium seating.
Yeah.
It is 100 times better.
One of the nicest places that I've been to, and of course it was relatively new when I was there, so that might have something to do with it. But I remember how great the locker room, the field, the media facilities. When Iowa State played Pitt in the Insight.com Bowl, which was a game played in Tempe, Arizona, the stadium in Tempe was just fabulous, absolutely fabulous. The field was immaculate. Everything was easy to get in and out of. Everything was in the right place. It was just, that was a really nice place. And as far as old stadiums that are still really good and fun to go to, I have to tell you that Ryan Field at Northwestern and Camp Randall at the University of Wisconsin are both really fun places as far as your experience while you're there.
Right.
You don't have to walk 8 country miles to go get a hot dog. You don't have to, you don't have to tape your dick down because it's going to take you a half an hour to get to the pisser. It's easy to get in and out of when you're driving there. Those kind of things. I mean, the experience of going to see an event there. That's what I'm talking about. Ryan Field at Northwestern and Camp Randall at Wisconsin would be my 2 choices for older college facilities that still stand the test of time.
Well, didn't the Orange Bowl, didn't they have benches instead of stadium seats?
Yeah, they had bleachers like most college stadiums do.
Yeah, metal bleachers. Yeah,
I was there. The last time I was in the Orange Bowl was 2003. It was the second or third game of the year against the Gators. Brock Berlin brought them back from being down 28-10. Or no, it was 31-10. Brought them back and won the game.
Now, I have not been there. I've driven by it. I mean, my car, I went right down the street. I mean, it was literally, I could have parked and walked across the street because it was the off season and they weren't there. But I have heard people tell me that PNC Park in Pittsburgh, where the Pirates play, is just fantastic. That there's not a bad seat in the house. No matter where your seat is, it's a good seat.
Yeah.
That's a really great venue to go to. And I have to say that I was in Pittsburgh and for a wedding, and it was over the summer, and we wanted to go see the stadium and we wanted to see Heinz Field and all that. So a friend took us and said, "All right, let's go downtown." But the Pirates were on the road. They were like out in California or something. So I mean, nobody was there. So literally, you were just driving by an empty place. But it was really neat, and you could kind of see it. You could kind of see into it as you drove by. And my buddy said, "I don't care where you're sitting, left field, right field, third base, first, behind the plate. There's no bad seat in the whole place."
Wow. I'm not gonna lie. I went to last year.
Because that's not the case at Wrigley. At Wrigley, you can have really shitty seats at Wrigley.
Last year, me and Carter went to Knoxville and hung out with BVD and Jesse and D4 and all them. We went to Neyland Stadium. I was not impressed.
No, and it's up on top of a hill.
Well,
I mean, that you talk about in need of some renovation. I mean, I don't know. Obviously we were outside, but I mean, like the front of Neyland Stadium where they get all the glamour shots, that looks nice. You get around the rest of it though, that thing it's in desperate need of some updating.
Doesn't it?
Actually,
Slim, my impression of Neyland, I wonder if yours is the same. Doesn't it feel just kind of, wasn't your impression something like, this is kind of cheap? It's kind of like run down, there are classrooms on one side, like they don't use them anymore. I think from what BVD said, they used them back in like the 60s or 70s up until then. There are classrooms at Neyland Stadium.
If that's true, then Jesus.
Yeah, it just looks
shabby.
Shabby, yeah, dumpy. Thank you.
I thought I heard that Neil Stadium's doing renovation, but is that gonna be enough? I don't know.
And this goes back to the earlier point of
right.
Miami needing a stadium. A lot of people like to joke about Miami not selling out games. Miami doesn't sell out all their games when they're good. Like, whether people want to believe it or not, there's other shit to do in Miami. And if Miami's playing some FCS cupcake, nobody's coming.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's the knock on USC.
Yeah, they had the same problem.
You're in Los Angeles. There's a whole lot of shit to do besides going to the Coliseum, the Coliseum is not in a great, people.
It's starting to get old.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. It's LA. If USC's playing a nobody or a game that nobody's interested in, it's LA. There's other crap to do.
Although I will remember
the beach is 30 minutes away. The mountains are 90.
This isn't, and don't get me wrong, this isn't a knock, but Miami, Los Angeles are not Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Right.
No.
There's nothing else in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Just football.
Well,
any of you got the Monday night game on?
Yeah, me. I got it on.
Look at the wind to move that field goal. Look at the wind. Look at the wind to move that.
I got Raw on.
Who's winning? I ain't got the game
Patriots
on.
winning 14-10.
Patriots are winning 14-10. The Bills just tried about a 30-yard field goal, and he kicked it, and he missed it, and the wind blew a 30-yard field goal about 20 yards to the side. I mean,
oh my god!
Damn.
Well, that's the wind effect right there. The Patriots.
He was going right to left on the TV screen. Like I said, he was going into the wind, and nobody's been trying to kick that way the whole game, and now you just saw why.
Yeah, well, the Patriots actually went for 2 on the
Vikings go against the wind. I mean,
I'm just now seeing the field goal. I have Hulu, so Hulu, of course, is going to be behind, but
right.
Going on a different topic for a second. I need to ask Nate about what he thinks about Michigan this year. I haven't heard a lot from him.
Go Blue!
Yeah, go Blue.
I have no real dog in the fight, but I mean, consistently, and I mean, you can ask Jeff and Ballard. I've always done this. If I don't have a dog in the fight, I always root for the underdog. It's nice to see the underdog win.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Georgia's favored by 7.5 from the opening line.
Yeah, I think that's too high, actually. I will go like
a little bit too high after our
performance. I would bet you if you were like people like Slim and this ain't my team. If you went and you asked Mr. and Mrs. America, and one of the 4 isn't their team, you just gotta know. You gotta know that the whole country is hoping for Alabama and Georgia to lose. You have to know that.
Right. Well, let me tell you something. I know Georgia fans are confident, and even after the loss, I would say they have plenty of reason to be. But I said it about a month ago. I said people are sleeping on Michigan, and especially that defense.
Oh, here's the one weakness about Michigan: their run defense. So,
well, every team's got a weakness. There's not a team out there that don't have one.
Exactly.
Well, I'm saying that's good for Georgia because Georgia's problems passing the ball right now. So
but you got in the Cotton Bowl. In the Cotton Bowl, you've got Alabama, who everybody but Bama fans is sick of. So you've got that, and you get the combination of not only is everybody sick of one team, but the other team is the darling. The other team is the Cinderella. The other team is the Butler in the Final Four. Is the Loyola of Chicago in the Final Four? It's
fuck it. Fucking Cincinnati has no business there whatsoever.
I know, but the country likes Cinderella, right?
Yeah,
and especially when Cinderella's matched up against Darth Vader and the evil Empire. And Nick Saban is Darth Vader, and Alabama's the Death Star, and everybody hates them, and that's okay. That's okay. They're sick of them, and I get it. I understand. I'd be sick of them too.
I mean, I'll say this, Jeff. I'll say this. That Georgia game, and I think even you would agree to this, is the best all-around game Bama has played all year. They have looked very mortal all year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It took their best effort to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
My argument for Alabama is win, and they haven't done it. They've been inconsistent all year. The danger is when Alabama does come with their good game, nobody can beat them. Their good game is better than anybody else's good game.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this. If they go in there and try and sleepwalk through that Cincinnati game, Cincinnati's just good enough to upset them.
Right, yeah. I mean, they're not going to take Cincinnati lightly. They're not going to take Cincinnati lightly, but I think what I liked about the margin of victory over Georgia was that might have been just the bolt of confidence that the Tide needed.
Maybe.
They needed that. Look what we can do when we're on.
And honestly, that margin of victory helps Georgia to let us know that we're not the god of the world and everything. Like we thought.
Well, Georgia should have knew that anyway. Because let's be honest, Georgia's offense has not been world beaters all year. Without your defense, y'all would have lost the Florida game. And your defense single-handedly won that game.
Here's what I couldn't get Lou to admit to on the TK show yesterday, the TK and BA show. As I said, Lou, you've been strutting around like a peacock with your feathers all fluffed up. Fucking Georgia fans pissing everybody off all year. Going, oh, here comes the Georgia haters saying, who have they played? Yeah, that's my question. Who you played, bitch? You don't have a single game on your record. You don't have a win over anybody who is right now ranked 19th. I don't care what they were ranked.
Credit.
Oh yeah,
I don't care what they were ranked when you were playing them. Where did they end up?
I said that to Lou months ago. I said you're beating your chest about this Arkansas win right now. I said, okay, Arkansas is ranked number 8 right now. I said, but what if they ended the year 7-5? That's not a good win anymore.
Right.
Well, Jeff, I have to ask this: how much fun did you have in Uncle Lou's comment section after Alabama beat Georgia?
Oh my God.
I saw Jeff in there.
I warned everybody. I said, did I not say all week long? Was I not predicting 24-16 Georgia? I said all week long Georgia was going to win by 8 points. But I also said, if Alabama pulls this upset, I'm declaring nuclear war.
No.
Well,
I warned everybody.
I called in the Uncle Lou show one time and told him that Alabama had a shot to beat us, and he told me no way.
Well, and up to that point, I would have agreed with him because Alabama had not looked like a very good team all year. But I said my problem with it was, I said, okay, in my eyes, in 2017, Georgia was a better team, but they still lost. I said, can they get over that? Can they get that Alabama monkey off their back? That's what I don't know about.
I tried to say to Trenches and Chess that the one thing we don't know, and I said this, I don't know that Alabama can make this happen. But if they do, look out. We don't know how Georgia will react when somebody punches them in the mouth.
Well, yeah.
And we found out because in 2020, in 2018, in 2017, in 2015, in 2012, and every time Alabama punches Georgia in the mouth, they fold like a bitch.
Yeah, well, and I also said this about Georgia. I said when it comes to the postseason, because I figured they would be in, win or lose, and obviously they are. But I said, okay, Georgia makes it to the playoffs. You know, I said, even if they lose the Bama game, I said, okay, how are they going to react in the postseason? Are they going to be able to stand up to that pressure of the postseason? Because it's not like they make the playoffs every year. There's nobody left on that team from the last time they made a playoff run.
You know who we also need to talk to? We need to talk to Ballard for saying that Alabama's not a championship level team all year.
I mean, they are now, but
I mean, look at them all year. They didn't look.
I have been concerned about Bryce.
They didn't look like it all year. I mean, they just didn't. I don't think many Bama fans would argue that point.
No, I don't argue it, but what I can't get, I cannot be the only person in America that has this opinion. I can't be. But I can't find anybody who will agree with me, and it's driving me fucking crazy. That these close games that Alabama won, running for only 6 yards, and yet still somehow managing to win. Imagine only running for 6 yards, and yet you still win. Those close games proved to the Alabama players that even when we're off, we're still better than you. We, like is what Will Anderson said in his post-game comments Saturday in Atlanta, we weren't getting any respect. We're Alabama. We wanted to come out and remind everybody that we're Alabama. We die hard.
Well, if you're off,
I mean, I can see your point in it.
Georgia hadn't had anybody score more than 17 points on them. They'd never been tested all year. They didn't know how to handle a pressure game. Alabama plays pressure games every week because they're like I said, they're Darth Vader of the Death Star. Everybody throws. Look at A&M. They threw their entire season at one game at Alabama. Everybody guns their whole season to get Alabama. And they don't do that to Georgia. Georgia doesn't face that every week.
Yeah. I mean, I'll agree with you. I mean, at least to a certain extent. I mean, Will Anderson can talk about we ain't got respect all year. Well, I mean, a struggle win against an 8-4 Arkansas, that doesn't earn respect, whether Will Anderson likes it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't.
Yeah, but what Will Anderson can do is pick up the phone and call you, Slim, and say, what playoff game are you in?
I mean, that's irregardless. I mean, that's really, I mean, and really that's a shit argument because it's an opinion, whether Will Anderson likes it or not.
It's not an opinion. You ain't playing in the Final Four.
It's
you ain't 12-1. You ain't the back-to-back conference champions. You haven't even played in your conference championship game in 17 years.
Well, they played in one.
Oh, they played in one. Well, they haven't won one. Bama's played in 9 and won 8 of the last 15 in the SEC, the best conference in the country.
I'm gonna say no, not the best conference in the country, but whatever.
Oh, easily the best conference in the country. That's not even debatable.
SEC is.
I'm not even going down that road. I mean, that's
it is debatable.
SEC is clearly the best conference.
That's just absolutely ridiculous. You compare the SEC's non-conference schedule against the other Power 5 conferences, and it's a landslide that they are the dominant conference team. You look at the NFL draft picks, it's a landslide. There's absolutely no debate. We shouldn't even be discussing this.
All right, you realize that Miami has like the 4th most players in the NFL, right?
Okay,
you
do realize that.
And they don't have 73.
So a terrible for the last 15 years Miami team has got the 4th most players in the NFL.
Okay, well we're talking about.
So using the NFL argument, I mean, if a what y'all call terrible team for the last 15 years is in the top 5 on that list, I
didn't say Miami was terrible. I said your conference is not as good as the SEC.
Well, I don't think the SEC is as good as you make it out to be. You've got like 3 good teams.
Who? What? Oh my Lord! Texas A&M.
That's my argument. Take the whole conference. Take the whole conference, not just bowl games. The whole conference. 24/7 did this like 2 months ago.
Oh,
and they did the last. I think they went to 2005. I think he started in 2005 because I think he was talking about not counting 2021. So you would go 2005 to 2020. It was 15 years, and it was all the Power 5 conferences, each one, what was their combined regular season and bowl record against other Power 5 teams? And the SEC by a mile was dominant. Wasn't even close.
Well, here's a fun fact. In the past 16 national titles, the SEC has had 7 appearances.
And it's all by 3 teams. So once again, that goes back to my argument. You have 3 good teams in the SEC.
Georgia's good.
The ACC's had 1.
Now they've had 2.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Florida State got there by accident 1 year. Yeah.
But Georgia had an appearance. Alabama of course got there. Auburn.
Now, I'm not talking about appearances. I'm talking about winning them, and it's all by 3 teams in the SEC.
Okay, Alabama,
and
Auburn,
there's
Florida,
2 in the
all have national titles.
And there's 2 in the ACC. There's 1 in the Big Ten, and arguably this year you can say the Big Ten was the best conference.
What? There's 4 in the SEC: LSU, Florida, Alabama, Auburn.
Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn has an.
Oh, I forgot about that fluky one Auburn got.
They still got one.
Yeah, they got one. Like I said, I forgot that fluky one Auburn got.
Well,
LSU's most recent fluky one was it was more recent. That's why I remembered it.
Cam Newton. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of was fluky, but still, they still got it. So.
Yeah,
I'm not debating that. I'm just saying because it was fluky is why I forgot about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you take Cam Newton off that team, then they're
it was that one Cam Newton year.
Yeah,
but in the year, I want to say year after that, after Cam Newton did, was Tim Tebow's year, or?
But I mean, consistently, you have 3 good teams in the SEC.
Well,
that are national title caliber contender teams.
In the 21st century, you can take Alabama out of the SEC, and they still have more national titles than any other conference.
Okay, well, none of Miami's count for the ACC because they weren't in the ACC at the time.
Right. Okay, we can count them then.
Yeah, well,
LSU is 3, Florida is 2.
In the ACC at the time. That's what he's saying.
I give LSU 2 because me and Jeff had this conversation before. There's more than a little controversy about that around that one Nick Saban won at LSU.
So there's 5.
And most people agree that USC would have beat the absolute soul out of LSU that year.
Well, LSU made it and won it, so it counts for LSU.
Well, I mean, okay. USC is the AP national champions because the AP kept them at number 1.
Well, the AP doesn't decide natties anymore. Well, anyways, SEC is 6 natties without Alabama. That's more than any other conference.
Oh, God, please.
Pac-12 has what?
And honestly, I'm not even talking national titles. On a consistent basis, you have. I mean, are you going to sit here and tell me that Arkansas would have a better record than any conference in America year in and year out? No, they wouldn't.
Okay. How about this? You said SEC isn't the best conference. Okay, what conference is better than them then, so we can compare?
I think you have a couple of good teams in every conference, and that's about it.
Okay, what conference is better than the SEC?
Really don't think any of them are better than any other. Like I said, you've got a couple of good teams in every conference.
Like Ohio State and Big Ten.
So there's no difference between the SEC and Pac-12?
And yes, there are powerhouses in each conference, and there are some real dogs in each conference, and there's a whole bunch of 6 and 6 teams in each conference.
And that's what I'm talking about, top to bottom.
Right. So what you do is you take the Sisters of the Blind in your conference and your Kings of Confetti in your conference. You put them all together, and you say, how do they do against the other 4 conferences? And when you do that, the SEC dominates.
No, they don't. Tennessee would lose to any
Slim.
Tennessee would lose to any Pac-12 team. Vanderbilt would lose to any Pac-12 team.
Tennessee,
the SEC teams, top to bottom, have beaten the hell out of everybody else's top to bottom for the past 15 years.
Exactly. I mean,
no, they haven't, Jeff.
Yes, they have.
Stop it. No, they haven't.
Stop it, Slim. I usually enjoy talking to you, but you are talking out your fucking ass right now.
No, you just got your blind homer shades on and can't admit when you're wrong.
Okay, Slim. You're telling me that Tennessee would go 7-5 in the Pac-12? Are you
Yes,
serious?
they would.
No, they would not. No, they would not.
Vanderbilt would be no better. Kentucky would be no better. Arkansas would be no better. Mississippi State would be no better.
Wrong.
I mean,
Wrong.
stop it.
Wrong. Those teams would be a lot better if they're in the Pac-12.
Now, as opposed to that, are you going to tell me that North Carolina or Pitt would have a worse record than they do in the ACC compared to the SEC?
Oh, a lot worse record.
No,
yes.
They wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
They would lose. They would lose to the same top teams like they do in the ACC, and they would dominate the bottom teams like they do in the ACC.
7-5. Pittsburgh would go 7-5 in the SEC. 8-4. 7.
No.
One of those.
Well, they're about 8-4 now, so their record would be about the same.
They're 11-2, Slim. They're 11-2. So
no, they lost. No, they're not.
They're 11-2. Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Pittsburgh is 11-2.
Pittsburgh lost to more than just a Miami.
Pittsburgh's 9-3.
There you go.
Okay, still. It doesn't matter. Pittsburgh would have a worse record in the SEC.
No, they wouldn't.
Or
yes,
10-3. They won so they're 10-3.
Okay, yeah, that ACC championship gave them 10. So yes, their regular season record would be about the same, give or take a game.
Okay, no, Pittsburgh's record would be a lot worse than the SEC.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would.
What's up, Neo?
Yes, it would.
What teams would beat them? Outside of Alabama, that
Georgia would beat them.
LSU. Okay, Alabama, Georgia.
Ole Miss would beat them.
Ole Miss would not beat them.
Yes, they would.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on. That game would be a shootout.
What team?
They almost lost to Tennessee. I mean, good God.
That game would be a shootout because that was first game of the year. I don't care about close games at the beginning of the year because everybody's worst game is at the beginning of the year.
Okay. Oh, Tennessee would lose. Pittsburgh would lose to Miss.
But Ole Miss, maybe that'd be a shootout because neither team has a great defense.
They might lose to Texas A&M.
And actually, I might even put Pitt's defense a little better because they did a really good job of making Wake Forest offense have a bad fucking day, and that's an elite offense, whether you want to believe it or not.
Hey, Neil.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Wake Forest.
Roll Tide.
Their offense wouldn't be that as good in the SEC. I'll say that.
What?
Okay.
With what? You have two top defenses in the SEC. That's it.
I mean, those top defenses probably should.
One of them is not.
Okay, they will lose those two. Once again, name the others that they would lose to. There's not a whole lot of top defenses in the SEC that would shut them down.
Well, it wouldn't shut them down, but there's teams in the SEC that beat them. I mean,
hold on? Are we talking about SEC teams? Miami
he's trying to argue that the SEC is not the best conference.
No, he's saying Pitt would have a worse record in the SEC than they did this year.
Oh, Pittsburgh?
And that's just false.
Yes,
and that's just false.
Yes.
There are not 5 defenses in the SEC that could shut down Pitt. There aren't.
By the way, Pittsburgh is 11-2.
I would not say 5, but I'll give you Georgia, of course. That could shut them down.
Yes,
Alabama.
Absolutely.
Well, by the way, Pittsburgh is 11-2. By the way, you can look it up.
But I want to go any further than that.
And Pittsburgh only has one loss in the ACC.
And no, they got more than one loss because Miami was not their only loss.
Look it up. They lost to Western Michigan.
They lost.
Well, Miami, Western Michigan. That was it. Look it up.
Well, I mean, you're just making my point for me.
This is funny.
What point?
I'm laughing.
That Pitt would have the same record.
Pittsburgh, if they play in the SEC, they have more. They had one loss in the ACC. They'd have a lot more in the SEC.
Nah.
Yeah, they would.
Like I said, the only one I might go along with. The only one I might go along with is Ole Miss because that game would be a shootout and it's hard to predict who would win those.
Texas A&M might beat Pittsburgh.
Maybe. Texas A&M didn't come on until the second half of the season, though. Beginning half of the season, their defense could be had.
Second half season, Texas A&M would beat Pittsburgh.
Okay, well, first half they wouldn't. So it all depends on when they played them.
Fair enough.
But like I said, plus or minus a game, Pittsburgh would have about the same record. North Carolina last year, that was pretty much, we had this conversation. That was pretty much consensus. North Carolina wouldn't have any worse of a record than they had.
Yeah, because North Carolina lost to a bunch of teams they shouldn't have lost to last year.
That's because North Carolina is fucking Jekyll and Hyde for real.
I mean,
what's Jacob arguing about now?
Well, Slim Shady said that, I think he said something about the SEC wasn't the best conference, and then me and Jeff Webster started arguing.
Oh.
I like tweaking their nose a little bit.
Who is the best conference, Slim?
I mean, an argument can be made, but like I said, you've got 3 teams, sometimes 4, and the rest of it's garbage.
Well, if you want to go by top teams, the top teams in the SEC are a lot better than the top teams in other conferences. Outside the Big Ten, that's the only competition. And SEC's top teams are still better.
How?
I mean, I'm sorry, but...
I mean, you don't have to be sorry. I mean, it's false, but, I mean, okay.
False. The SEC's top teams are better than any other conference. That's a fact.
No, it's not. And I think you're fixing to find that out with Michigan.
All right, whatever. Well, in the top
he did say with the exception of the Big Ten.
I did.
I said that's the only
one.
Oh,
you did.
Yeah, that's the only one that'd be close. SEC's top teams they're still better than the Big Ten's top teams.
I'm not so sure about that one, Daniel-san.
It's pretty close.
I mean, it's arguable, but it like he just said, it's pretty damn close.
Okay, well, if you want to compare the Big Ten,
I mean, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State.
Top teams are they're debatable. I think the SEC clearly has better top teams. But if you go to the rest of the conferences, that's where the SEC is better than the Big Ten. Rest of the conference.
With who?
They have more.
Mississippi State? Vanderbilt? Okay, they're on par with Maryland and Rutgers, yeah.
No, Mississippi State.
Teams like Virginia and Duke.
No, Mississippi State would have a better record outside the SEC.
Hey, you're crazy as hell. I got to give David Cutcliffe his credit. I mean, yes, they're still Duke, but name somebody that's done better at Duke.
You can't.
That's why I got to give my props to David Cutcliffe. I actually think he should have.
You know what we can?
Look at it this way: Mississippi State, an average team in the SEC, beat one of the best teams in the ACC by a couple of touchdowns. Think about that.
Yeah, with Mike Leach, that offense gets somebody every once in a while. That's been the story of Mike Leach's career.
No, Mississippi State was the better team. That's what happened.
No. And just because you won the game, clearly, we covered that 30 minutes ago. The better team doesn't always win the game either.
Right.
Well,
I've seen better Georgia teams. Like I said, I think Georgia was better than Bama in 2017. They lost to Bama.
Well,
I've seen better Miami teams lose to worse teams. So just because somebody won the game doesn't mean you're the better team. That's been a well-known fact about football for a long time. You may be better on that day. That don't make you the better team.
I bet if Mississippi State and NC State played again, Mississippi State would still win.
Probably not, because Mississippi State's kind of like North Carolina. They're a Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, sometimes they show up and they'll give anybody a run for their money. And then other days...
They didn't show up against Bama.
Exactly.
Because Bama... there's a huge difference between Bama and NC State.
Okay. Well, they didn't show up against Ole Miss either.
There's a huge difference between NC State and Ole Miss. Huge difference. Ole Miss is a much better team.
No, not really. Ole Miss is a pretty good offense.
Ole Miss would beat the brake shoes off NC State.
No, Ole Miss is literally Oklahoma. They're a good offense and no defense.
They're
a half a team.
Ole Miss would beat the brake shoes off of Oklahoma.
maybe
What?
this year.
Yes.
Maybe this year. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's about the only year.
Yeah. Well, if you want to look at past years, then the SEC is clearly better. I mean, just looking at
it's
past
not.
years.
I'll tell you what.
You go in past years. You want to go back to 2016, 2017, 2018.
We can go back to 2000.
The ACC. All three of those years blew the SEC out of the water, top to bottom.
Okay, well, let's go back to 2006 then. 17 of the past 16 national titles have been made.
Christ, you're once again 3 teams.
What?
Oh, my bad, 4. That fluky Auburn team.
Matt Corral.
But all in all, 3 teams.
In the 21st century, SEC is more SEC titles without Alabama. Throw Alabama in the water. They have
3 teams. 3. I'm talking about the conference top to bottom. I'm not talking about 3 teams.
Conference top to bottom. Georgia's been consistently good.
Yeah, you've never heard me doubt that.
So, I mean,
so is Clemson.
The Patriots just beat the Bills 14-10.
Oh,
the Patriots ran the ball 50 times. They threw 3 passes. I repeat, 50 runs, 3 passes, and the Patriots win 14-10.
And Mac Jones has been pretty good.
God, what is this?
It's the wind. It's the wind.
What is this? What is this? Circa 1985 football?
It'll be interesting to read or hear later. When was the last time an NFL team win or lose threw only 3 passes in an entire game? That'll be interesting to find that out.
Well, I'm going to go look at the Lions versus Eagles game from 2013. Then that's the first game in my mind.
I mean, only 3 passes. Holy shit.
That's unheard of these days.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple of times Pittsburgh's thrown 50 passes with Roethlisberger.
I mean, shit. Game. Brady's been doing it most of the year, and I'm sitting here like, what the hell are y'all doing?
Yeah, I mean, 3 passes in an NFL game. I don't care whether you win or lose, just to only attempt 3 passes.
Playing like Georgia.
Well, what that means is that your men were bigger, tougher men than the other guys, big, tough men, because you ran the ball. They knew you were going to run the ball, and they couldn't stop you.
Well, it was really the Patriots' defense, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy about this. I wanted the Bills. Never mind Mac Jones and Damian Harris. I wanted the Bills to win. I didn't want the Patriots to win. I wanted the Bills to win, so I'm not happy. I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed that an NFL team can only throw 3 passes and win on the road.
200.
I'd be surprised if they did that at home. I mean, I don't care where you're
I'd
playing.
be surprised if
You're
they did.
always
They showed a clip. If you were watching, they showed a clip of the stadium workers were taking they have, every stadium has flags at the top of the stadium. They were taking the flags down because they were afraid they were going to get ripped off the poles and blow into the crowd or onto the field. So the wind was blowing that hard. They were taking the flags down.
Yeah.
And that was in Buffalo. So just imagine if it had been snowing, because Buffalo Stadium is like 2 miles from Lake Erie. If it'd been snowing and they had lake effect snow, that would have been magnificent, man. You wouldn't have been able to see the field. It had been snowing so hard, that lake effect snow, but they didn't get it tonight.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Great Lakes are miniature oceans, and Green Bay is Lambeau Field is close to Lake Michigan. Soldier Field is literally a block from Lake Michigan. Rich Stadium is right by Lake Erie. Cleveland Stadium is right off Lake Erie. When the cold wind and there's moisture in the air comes off the lake and it hits the hot air over the top of a city, which is heated because it's a city, you get what's called lake effect snow, and you could have 6 inches of snow. Get on the L or in other places the subway or whatever, and go 10 blocks and get off, and there's not even snow on the sidewalk. But 10 stops away, there's a half a foot of snow. It's really localized, and it's very heavy, and it's very wet. It's called lake effect snow. And I love NFL games when they get lake effect snow. I love them, and I wish this had been this way tonight. But the Patriots were 2 of 3 for 19 yards in the air.
Yeah.
The Bills were 15 of 30 for 191 in the air.
Mac Jones' arm must be broken after that. So tiring.
Yeah. Hell, he probably threw 150 passes in warm up, and then he threw 3 in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, Slim, what's happening with Miami? Have they got Mario Cristobal or not?
Oh, they got him. And
yeah, they got him, and
were they having
to sum up what's going on, it's a bunch of monkeys trying to fuck a football. That's pretty much sums up what's going on.
So they hired a coach.
They hired a coach.
They hired a coach before they hired a AD.
Oh yeah, they hired a coach before they fired the other one too.
Man, if you've got your TV on, turn it on ESPN and look at. They're showing what the wind is doing. It's just amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it right now. Matt Judon's in the interview.
Isn't the Heisman Trophy ceremony this week?
I already.
You mean the Bryce Young ceremony?
Heisman.
It's not the Bryce Young ceremony, but
Heisman on ESPN at 8 Eastern Saturday. 8 Eastern Saturday.
I'll say this: they have a chance to prove that the Heisman isn't just an award for the best quarterback on a top 5 team, because
they proved that last year.
Well, hang on. Because as good, and I agree, Bryce Young has looked good. Kenny Pickett has been much more consistent throughout the year than him.
Oh, you got don't even start. Don't even start that.
Wait, so are you trying to make
more yards? How many more yards and touchdowns does he have? Thank you very much.
Are you trying to make the argument that Kenny Pickett should get the Heisman over Bryce Young?
His numbers are better, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Numbers are better, yeah. Whatever. Bryce Young just beat the number 1 team in the country and threw for
421 yards. The most ever in an SEC championship game up against the number 1 defense in the country.
Basically, folks, to sum this up, Bryce Young
if that's not enough for the Heisman, then I don't know what is.
No, it's not, because Kenny Pickett's numbers, every stat is better.
What defenses are Kenny Pickett playing?
Okay, and Bryce Young did it against 1. And yes, Kenny Pickett did it against. Hang on, Kenny Pickett did it against Clemson's defense, which is just as good as Georgia's.
Okay, I was going to say something real quick. I do think that Bryce sealed the Heisman Trophy. He finally had a Heisman type of game where he looked like a true elite quarterback. Finally. And it was against the, best defense.
This isn't a thing where that was Bryce's only game. Bryce did this against Arkansas, Miami. He just
Nope.
Yes, he did.
A Bama fan just told you no, he didn't. Stop it.
Well, a bad Bama fan is bonked in the head.
Well,
he's been
whatever.
Brilliant.
And
I needed to see it against a true defense.
And this isn't a Bama hate thing, because I could really care less. I said Chase Young should have won it a couple years ago.
Okay. Well, then you should be demanding that Will Anderson be there, because Will Anderson's numbers are better than Chase Young's numbers.
Yeah, Will Anderson should be there. I'm all for defensive players winning it.
Yeah,
I think there are definitely some that should have.
Well, they announced the finalists. It's Young, Pickett,
Hutchinson,
Walker from Michigan State, and Aiden Hutchinson.
Walker.
And honestly,
CJ Stroud and Aiden Hutchinson.
And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. If I had my pick, I wouldn't pick a quarterback to win it for a decade because I'm saying they made it too much of a quarterback award.
So you're saying since Cam Newton, because Cam Newton obviously deserved it.
What? Yeah, I could agree Cam Newton deserved it because he was I don't know.
Yeah, I was just
I'm kind of iffy on that one.
All the other quarterbacks though, I see where you're going, but Cam Newton deserved it.
Yeah, I mean Cam Newton was never a good thrower of the football.
Well, he carried an Auburn team to a national championship.
It wasn't with his passing ability; it was with his running ability.
Oh well, he still did it. And
there were running backs with better numbers than him.
Okay, and
so I mean, I can see why he got it when you add in the passing ability too.
But there wasn't another player that year that really in a long time that would have carried an Auburn team like that to a national championship.
I would have to go back and look who the finalists were that year.
You have to win the Heisman. You have to have a big game against a big opponent on the big stage with everybody watching.
And Cam Newton had that against Alabama.
And Bryce Young has that. I will agree.
Right.
But compared to Kenny Pickett, that's all Bryce Young has.
Oh my God, that is so not true at all.
Dude, Kenny Pickett's got almost double the stats of Bryce Young. Stop it.
Okay, fine. But did you watch the touchdowns? How many times has Bryce Young been on the ground this year because of his offensive line? Let me ask you that.
A lot.
Look at that slim
exactly
in here.
Was it really his fault that the offense didn't perform as well against Auburn and LSU?
It doesn't matter. It's about the numbers.
I will say this. Bryce has improved maybe week after week. It might not look like it, but his decision-making is not always the best. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Now, see, my argument with the Heisman is there are more deserving players on teams that aren't top 5.
And honestly, you know who I would give the Heisman to? I would give it to Will Anderson. But it's going to go to Bryce Young. And if we're arguing between Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett, I'd give it to Bryce Young.
And I mean, there are years. Who was it?
I would give it to Will Anderson, though. He deserves it.
He might get it.
I'm all for some.
Not a finalist. Can't get it.
I mean, I'm all for defensive players. I mean, there was a couple throughout Miami's history, I would say, had a really good argument for it. I mean, Warren Sapp ended like 3rd or 4th in voting for the Heisman.
Yeah. My favorite memory of Warren Sapp was the disappearing job he pulled in the 92 Natty. That's my favorite memory of Warren Sapp.
Bryce Young, even in a loss at the Aggies, had 375 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Exactly. I mean, look, when the man gets blocking, he lights defenses up.
The LSU game.
And even in a loss to Miami, Kenny Pickett threw for over 450 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Well, okay. If Bryce Young, if he gets the blocking, he's got it. I mean, that's the only reason why Kenny Pickett's stats are better, because Bryce Young's on the ground all the time, because LSU, Auburn, they're sending the house on him, and Alabama's offensive line weren't blocking them.
Well, you just said, what Miami game did that happen?
He's talking about
Kenny Pickett, Miami.
Yeah.
Who has better defense, the Aggies or Miami?
Oh, I'd say the Aggies are better.
Well, they're top 10 in almost every statistic.
Okay. Do you think Kenny Pickett could walk into
Georgia? I just agreed with you that they're better.
Okay, you think Kenny Pickett could walk into the SEC title game and light up Georgia as much as Bryce Young did?
I don't think that was a factor.
They don't have
in that game.
Well, see, there you're factoring in Alabama's defense. This is not about one side of the ball helping you out. This is an individual award.
Bryce Young absolutely.
What did you do against who you played?
And Bryce Young had a good game in every game he played.
Yeah. Well,
not really.
Not really.
Bryce Young's made a lot of questionable
But the thing is, it wasn't his fault. It was mostly the offensive
yes,
line.
it is his fault.
No,
it doesn't matter about the offensive line. It's about what you do.
I'll tell you what.
LSU was not his fault.
Hold on.
Wait just a damn minute.
That is a terrible argument to say that the offensive line.
Okay, let me say something about Bryce. Okay, handling pressure against opposing defenses, Slim. What have you seen? Because I don't think he handles pressure all that well.
Mixed bag. He did a bad job of it against Texas A&M, but he did a better job of it when Georgia sent pressure.
He played good versus A&M.
Now, granted, you're talking beginning of the year versus end of the year. So, I mean, he's going to get better as the year goes on.
Yeah, and he has. That's the thing. That's what I've been saying. Like,
I mean, he has the number two. He has 4,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 3 of which came on tipped balls. He has the number 2 QBR in the nation and the number 1 QBR when facing pass rushers of 5 or of more than 4. 5 or 6 is what they say.
But going by the numbers, he's barely a top 10 quarterback. Kenny Pickett is number 2.
What?
What
You're
the hell?
fucking nuts, Slim.
Okay, I even have to go against Slim here. I would say
go look up. Now, hang on. Go look up the top 5. 3 of them are ACC quarterbacks.
Okay. You tell me that Kenny Pickett could walk into the Auburn game, the LSU game, and do better than Bryce
It does
Young?
not matter. It's
Yes, it
what
does.
you do against who you play.
Well, it does
Sam
matter.
Hartman,
Yes,
Kenny Pickett, and Tyler Van Dyke, all 3 of them are ranked higher than Bryce Young.
Bryce Young lit up the best defense in the country. That should just be enough for the Heisman alone.
No, it shouldn't.
Yes, it should.
There's nobody but a fucking drunk off their ass Miami homer.
If you're a Bama homer, drunk off your fucking ass, talking about Bryce
Tyler
Young
Van Dyke on their team ahead of Bryce Young, given the choice between the two.
And only a drunk off their ass Bama homer would put Bryce Young above him when his numbers are worse.
Man, no fucking shit.
But unfortunately, everything to you.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers do
no
lie.
comparison.
Of course, it matters on who the players play, not just the stats. Because if it just went by the stats, 2 Hawaii quarterbacks should have won the Heisman.
The thing is, you got to actually watch people play.
Viola.
You got to watch the players. You can't just go off stats and assume this and this. You got to watch the players. You can't just go off of stats.
Okay, but the number 7th quarterback by numbers deserves to be ahead of
I don't
the
care.
6
He
in
lit
front
up
of
the
him.
number 1 defense in the country.
I don't care. And Kenny Pickett, hang on. And Kenny Pickett lit up the number 2 defense in the country. So argument nullified.
Not as much as Bryce Young did, and there's a big difference.
Yes, he did.
And there's a big difference between the number 1 and number 2 defense.
No, there's not.
You're saying don't go by stats.
You are smoking
just
crack.
5 minutes ago talking about look at Bryce numbers. Look at Bryce.
Exactly.
Bro.
Huh? What'd you say, Ballard?
You're the one saying you can't just go by stats, but 5 minutes ago you're saying look at Bryce Young's numbers.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Well, if we go by numbers, it's a joke.
Okay, so all right, so you want to go by numbers, Slim? Bryce threw for 4 touchdowns, 4.
Here we go.
Kenny Pickett threw for 302 yards and 2 touchdowns against Clemson. Number 1, Georgia defense is better, first of all, and Bryce Young had 100 yards more.
No, it's not. You saw Georgia and Clemson play each other. Those defenses are pretty much equal.
Yeah, and who won the game off of a pick 6?
Like I said, pretty much equal.
Both
offenses put up 3 points.
That's offense. Georgia's defense won the game because Georgia's defense can create havoc like that.
Well, if we're going by numbers, Will Anderson should be going to New York.
Well, wait a minute. I'll use your own argument against you. The only reason Georgia got that pick 6 was because of Clemson's bad offensive line. I use your own argument against you. That was your argument, sir.
You're going to give the guy no credit for jumping the route.
That was your argument, sir.
Well, no. The guy jumped.
Yes, it was.
Georgia. That's what.
That was your argument for Bryce Young. Keep it consistent.
What argument for Bryce Young?
That you said your argument for Bryce Young was, oh, he was always on his back because his offensive line was bad. Well, guess what? DJ Ukulele was always on his back because his line is bad.
Well, DJ had a clear pocket. He decided to throw a slant.
I would bet you $500. I would bet you $500 if you polled every offensive coordinator and head coach in the FBS, who would you rather have? Bryce Young, Kenny Pickett, or Tyler Van Dyke? It'd be a fucking landslide for Bryce Young.
Now hold on. Okay, so forget these, but look at where
if you're talking about a drunk Bama homer offensive coordinator, yes.
Second in QBR. He's tied 9th for his interceptions. He's second in touchdowns, but the yardage, 4,000 is pretty good. But that's
I'm not.
Look at the look.
I never said he had bad numbers. That never came out of my mouth.
I am an Alabama fan. I need to clarify something real quick. I don't think Bryce is bad, but this whole he's the clear-cut best quarterback in the nation, and it's not.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That is literally what I'm saying. He is not clear-cut the best quarterback in the nation. CJ Stroud is CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Bryce Young.
Well, he's clear-cut for the Heisman. He's clear-cut for the Heisman.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Going by the ridiculous way that they hand out the Heisman every year, yes. But there are better players on teams outside of the top 5 year in and year out that deserve the Heisman Trophy over who ends up winning it.
Okay, so you think Kenny Pickett could do the same? Put Kenny Pickett on Alabama's team. You think he's doing the same thing?
I'm fixing to pull up real quick.
I think he'd probably be doing even better because his numbers are better at Pitt. So they'd be even better with the rest of Bama's team to bolster him.
No.
Well, forget about Kenny Pickett. Forget about Kenny Pickett. If Bryce Young went to USC, and Paul Tyson was starting this year, how many losses does Alabama have?
Okay. Bryce Young has better numbers than Kenny Pickett, at least for this season. But I want you guys, y'all saw what Bryce had.
You know who?
Look how close it is, at least. So, it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, whatever. But
Bryce Young has 4,322 yards. He's at 319 or 4,300 or whatever. 42 touchdowns for Pickett, 43 for Bryce. 7 picks for Pickett, only 4 for Bryce. And there's like a 7 difference in the QBR.
Well, I know we're arguing about between Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett. But who really should win the Heisman is Will Anderson. He should really win the Heisman.
And I'm not even really arguing for Kenny Pickett because C.J. Stroud looks like the best quarterback in the nation.
Yeah, that's why he lost to Michigan. That's why he lost to Michigan.
Well, I mean, once again, you can't control the other side of the ball, and when Ohio State's defense is non-existent.
They don't have defense. That's
exactly my point.
Right.
Well, it's C.J. Stroud. He can control his own side of the ball, and he didn't light up Michigan's defense like Bryce Young lit up Georgia's. And Georgia's defense is much better.
No, Georgia's defense is not much better than Michigan. It is better, but it's not much better.
Well, okay. Well, it's a better defense.
It is a better defense. I'm not arguing that point.
Well, rankings can be deceiving in some of these categories.
True
that. You look at yards per rush, right? Georgia and Alabama were way up there, like 2.5 per rush. Michigan is way down in the rankings, but theirs is just 3.5. So they give up 1 more yard. So you'll see somebody say like, well, Georgia has the number 3 yards per rush, and Michigan is like 47. Well, it's only less than a yard that separates the two, even though 48 rankings separate them.
Yeah. And I mean, everybody can pick out, you can cherry pick a single stat, and I don't typically go for any argument that tries to cherry pick just this one stat or this one stat. I try and look at, like in the case of defense, overall defense, but I'll also look at kind of X factors, if you want to call it that. Tackles for loss, sacks,
Picks.
that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
Picks is another one. Because that kind of stuff really changes the dynamic of a game.
It does. It does.
That's why Will Anderson should be in New York.
And I said earlier, I don't have a problem with that. If it was up to me, a quarterback wouldn't win it for a decade.
Well, anybody agree that Will? Am I the only person in this room that thinks Will Anderson should win it?
Well, you look at his statistics. He's putting up better numbers than Aaron Donald, Sue, and Joey Bosa.
So I'm not the only one who thinks he should win it, then, right?
I definitely say he belongs there. Win it, yeah, it's kind of up in the air, but I wouldn't be mad about it.
Well, if you're complaining so bad about quarterbacks being a quarterback award, then you'd give it to Will Anderson.
Oh, I've already stated that.
So
I've already stated I wouldn't give it to a quarterback for the next fucking decade.
Yeah.
Even if that quarterback really was the best.
At this point, yes, just because they've made it too much of a quarterback award. Sorry for your luck.
Now, what do you guys think about oh crap, which season was it?
But I also
2018 with Kyler Murray.
The last back I'd give it to is probably he earned it, but other than that, no, there were better players.
And I also I wouldn't give it to a single person on a team in the top 5 because I think there's plenty of players, and I just kind of focused on Kenny Pickett because of that part of the argument. There are plenty of players in the top 5 that have a legitimate argument outside of the top 5 that have a legitimate argument for it.
Chase Young wasn't on a top 5 team then.
Well, and he's another one.
Exactly.
I mean, the year Warren Sapp was up for it, he wasn't on a top 5. He was a top 15, 10 team, somewhere right in there. The year that he was a finalist for it. But like the argument I make, in his case, he literally won every possible other award that a defensive player can win.
I need to respond to Michael. We're not dissing Aiden Hutchinson. We're just saying that we think Will Anderson, or I'm saying Anderson should, first of all, be in New York over him. Second of all, should win it over anybody else.
I'll tell you why Hutchinson should not be there, and his chair should be held by Will Anderson. It's simple as hell. Anderson has 14.5 sacks. Hutchinson has 14. Hutchinson's total tackles are 33. Anderson has 32 tackles for a loss, 10 more than anybody else in the FBS.
Okay,
that's just his tackles for loss. So why the hell is Hutchinson there and not Anderson?
Well,
making that argument. Hang on, Ballard. Making that argument, Jeff, would you say Greg Rousseau should have at least gotten an invite to New York a couple years ago? Because he had almost 20 sacks. He had 18 sacks and right at 30, somewhere 30, 34 tackles, and I think about 20 of them were tackles for loss.
Yeah, and those are game impact statistics. I've thought that defensive players have been screwed for longer than any of you because you're not as old as me. I remember when we're talking about Pitt players, when defensive player Hugh Green from Pitt in 1979 should have won the Heisman the year in 1979, and he didn't get an invite, and that's when I was 13 years old, and I thought, well, hell, I'm only 13 years old. I can figure out this guy's the best player in the fucking country.
Well, how about, you know what? Similar to you, I've had a gripe. I think Devin Hester should have at least gotten an invite to New York with his game.
He absolutely should have. Absolutely, he should have. And I'm making an argument that Hester's senior season was more impressive than Charles Woodson's.
Because just take away all the punt and kick returns, he had 9 interceptions.
Yeah,
on top of it,
he had a better. His final year was a better all around year in everything he contributed than Charles Woodson, or even Tim Brown, who I thought was a deserving winner for Notre Dame because of all he did. But Brown and Woodson together did, neither one of them, I think, compared favorably to Hester. And Hester didn't even get an invite.
Yeah, and I'm not even taking into account all of his offensive touchdowns because Devin Hester is probably the last person I can think of to really play 3-way football.
Yeah, it's a glamour award. It's fun to argue about the Heisman. We're all having fun, getting all worked up and arguing about it.
Oh yeah.
But to me, I'm more interested in the Doak Walker, the Maxwell, the Bolitnikoff, the Remington, the Outland, the Butkus. I like the position awards, the Ray Guy, the Mackey, where you've got people who've been paying attention and are not just some sports writer and who doesn't watch anything that happens on the West Coast or reverse or blah, 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 that always cast a regional ballot, blah, blah, blah. I like the position awards because now we're comparing a tight end versus a tight end versus a tight end versus a tight end, and we're not trying to compare the impact a defensive edge rusher has against a wide receiver. You know what I mean? We're talking straight up, this guy's the best receiver. That's why, Devontae Smith won the Heisman last year, and great for him. Congratulations. But I was excited that he won the Bolitnikoff because that was the award that said nobody does what you do at that spot better than you.
Hey, Jeff,
that's why I like the position awards.
There's rumors circulating that Christopher Allen could return in time for the Cotton Bowl.
It would take a medical miracle. I'd love it.
Yeah.
Well, Dallas Turner's been playing really well.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I love Dallas.
Okay.
I get your point. You want players back, and Jeff probably isn't going to like this.
Well, we need it.
I don't think they need to risk it. I think last year, Nick Saban, and this is the one gripe I've really got against Nick Saban, the coach.
Here it comes.
Yeah, and you know where I'm going. And
you're going with Waddle.
That he should be fucking ashamed of himself.
Here's the difference.
Who?
Here's the problem with arguing against Waddle playing. Nick Saban goes to the medical staff. Is he cleared to play? And when the medical staff says he's cleared to play, and Saban says he's my second best receiver, and he's medically cleared to play. He's worked his ass off for 6 weeks to get back. Why would I not play him?
Because you could see he can't play. Well, that's why. What? Anybody with 2 eyes could see he couldn't play.
Well, then blame the medical staff. Don't blame the head coach.
Yeah, I will blame the head coach because Nick Saban's got a functional brain.
You must be some kind of a dumbass.
How are you going to play?
No. If I clear to play, he can play. That's how it works.
I don't give a shit. Anybody with 2 eyes and a functional brain could see that he was a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
Oh my God. Well, fire the medical staff then. That's not Nick Saban's job.
That specific injury, he had surgery on it. There was nothing structurally wrong with his ankle, and Waddle even said, there was nothing that was going to go wrong. It was just sore. It just is what it is.
People play through injuries. That's how football works.
Yes, I get people play through injuries. That was a one-legged man. That was still a one-legged man on a football field.
And I saw him.
That was an absolute. He didn't outrun anybody. He couldn't have outran a lineman in that game. And that is an absolute disgrace. Nick Saban should be ashamed of himself. and anybody that defends it should be ashamed of themselves.
I saw him outrun Ohio State.
He didn't outrun anybody.
Big man.
Yes, he did. He outran Ohio State.
And listen, I would say the same thing if Manny Diaz was in that same situation, or whoever the Miami coach is. Because, like I said, anybody with a functional brain and 2 eyes could see Jalen Waddle was not okay to go.
And he didn't. He only came in there for 2 plays.
I'll give him his credit for taking him out. I think he should have took him out 2 plays sooner than he did.
He played two plays, got like a 12-yard reverse, limped afterwards, and we didn't see him again. So, I mean,
now, if you want
worked up over nothing.
Now, if you want to put him in on a victory formation like he did the center, okay, fine. It's taking the knee. Big deal.
Yeah, I like that. That was a true highlight for me in that game, that they let Landon Dickerson come in and snap the ball for the 2 kneel downs, because that was
that's
that
cool.
That was great because there wasn't going to be a play, and it was clear the guy was a captain. It was clear what he meant to the rest of the team, and I was pleased to see that. And the other thing I liked about that, and Slim will remember this, LW will remember this. Back in the days before they did this stupid fucking Gatorade bath, which is about 25 years past its time, and I wish they'd quit doing that. It used to be, what'd you do when your coach won the Super Bowl? What'd you do when your coach won the national championship?
Oh, hold on. Was this where you took all the champagne in the locker room?
No, the big offensive lineman picked the head coach off, and you carried the coach off the field.
Yep.
Look at the old.
Landon Dickerson did that to
look
save
at Lombardi. Look at Lombardi. Look at Don Shula. Look at Chuck Noll. Look at Tom Landry. They're getting carried off the field. Bear Bryant getting carried off the field. Tom Osborne getting carried off the field.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. So that's why I loved it when Dickerson went over and picked Saban up. So 2 or 3 other guys carried him off instead of doing this stupid Gatorade dump, which is like way. That's like the wave, man. That's way past its time.
I think you're just a crusty old man, Jeff, that wants to complain about it.
But don't you think it's classier? Don't you want to see your coach carried off? I mean, it's the ultimate sign of respect.
I get your point. Yeah, I agree. Nick Saban just doesn't strike me as the type that he would like that very much, though.
Right. He would probably yell at him. Yes, I agree. But I'd like to see somebody do it. I mean, if Michigan, Cincinnati, Georgia, if they win and it's not Saban, carry Harbaugh or Fickle or Kirby off. I'd like to see him return to that.
Well, hell, look at the Big Ten title game. They dumped 2 jugs of Gatorade on Harbaugh.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
they got him with, what was it? One of them was blue, and the other one was, I think, orange or something.
I get what Jeff's saying, but I like the Gatorade baths. That's the one thing that I have to disagree with. I like the Gatorade baths.
You know what they need to get rid of in football is the human angry bird, Andy Reid.
What's that?
I said something they need to get rid of in football is the human angry bird, Andy Reid.
Oh, I used to call it. I lost my nickname for him because he won the Super Bowl, so now I can't use it anymore. But for years and years, I called him Andy Small Game Reid because he couldn't win a big game. He was Andy Small Game Reid.
Y'all remember this from last year? Jimbo's like, hell no, you ain't dumping that on me. See, Jimbo was smart. He ran away from it. See, this man knew.
Well, Jimbo's not as old as most of them. He can still move.
You know what would be great? You know what I'd love to see? Whoever wins the Natty, whoever it is, whatever team it is, it'd be great if they went completely old school. And on purpose, I mean, they'd have to have it planned out. But on purpose, all the cameras are watching them. Oh, here they come sneaking up with the cooler, and let's get the cameras on them. Let's make sure we get and instead of dumping them with Gatorade, they hit them with confetti like the Harlem Globetrotters do. just to be different, you know what I mean? Because if you think about that, if you did the confetti bucket instead of the Gatorade bucket, that would be the instant highlight. You'd be on every video. You'd be on all YouTube, ESPN. You know what I mean? If you were one of the players that did that, you'd be fucking everywhere. Because it's so unusual. It'd be something different. You know what I mean? It would be.
Yeah.
It'd be completely unexpected, and it'd be like instead of. And Nick Saban's just won his 8th, and here come the players, and instead of dumping Gatorade on him, they hit him in the face with a cream pie. Well,
Saban, look, he got double. He got double here.
Just an emphatic
he got one
season of incredible consistency,
and then
all odds.
2
really
right here.
Except for one game of
there
the Gators in the fourth quarter. Saban,
and he's like, put me down. He's like, put me down, LD. Put me down.
He's smiling though. I've never seen him smile so big.
He was actually mad in 2009 for the Gatorade.
Oh yeah,
they hit him in the head.
Yeah, they bonked him over the top of the head with it. Yeah,
he was mad.
Dang, hit him with the physical there, boys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
The year we beat LSU, though,
if you're an offensive lineman and you're going to graduate, your eligibility is done. So it doesn't matter if the coach is mad at you or not. And you're Alabama and you win. Why wouldn't you pick up and carry off Nick? What's Nick Saban? What's he about 5'8" and about 160 pounds? Two big old offensive linemen that are 2 bull mooses that are 6'2" and weigh 310. Saban can scream all he wants. He's going for the ride. You know what I mean?
Right.
You be mad all you want. There won't be any way to stop them.
Jeff, you'll remember this one right here. We beat LSU that season. He said, "Dump that on me." He loved it.
Show me the 2009 clip. I need to see that again.
Oh yeah, hold on.
So people know they probably know what I'm talking about, but still.
Shebang.
Well, the one where he got hit they hit him in the head with it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they didn't mean to, but that's how stupid that is. I just.
Still not smiling.
He looks pissed.
Yeah.
Another national championship for the Crimson Tide. You saw the Gatorade shower this time. You acted a little differently. What'd you do? I love it. Alabama again, the champions of
oh man! How about the crystal ball?
Next year, we got a 24-hour rule.
Yeah, man, I miss that.
As far as just just what does the trophy look like and how cool is it? The crystal ball is better than the champagne flute.
Yeah, crystal ball. They should bring that back.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the current one they have. That right there, the champagne. I call it the champagne flute because that's what it looks like. It looks like a champagne glass. But the crystal ball, I think, is a more attractive looking trophy.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I think crystal ball is the best trophy, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, when it just comes down to a piece of art that you're looking at, what's more attractive? I think the crystal ball is.
Yeah, that's just.
Would it be wrong though, for the sake of like let's say they kept the college football playoff, and maybe you keep the logo and everything, but the trophy isn't the golden one we have now. We still keep the BCS trophy. I mean, would that be wrong to the BCS? Would that be wrong to? I mean,
no.
I like the crystal ball trophy.
I got a better idea. I got a better idea. How about we just go completely back to the BCS because this playoff shit's ridiculous.
I'm fair with that.
Yeah, well, Georgia wouldn't be in the playoffs right now for that case. Huh.
If we went back to the BCS, where did I see it? Was it Athlon? Somebody had the BCS rankings, and Of course, it wasn't the perfect BCS because there's no Sagarin, and one of the other computers doesn't do it anymore. But the ones that are still doing it, they had the BCS would be Michigan 2, Alabama, or Michigan 1, Alabama 2.
Oh, see, I think that's where they're wrong. I mean, you beat the
I mean, immediately following all those games, I had put Michigan at 1, but that was mainly because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, Georgia and Bama are going to go, both going to end up in the playoffs, immediate rematch.
Going into championship,
I think it was an Athlon or whatever because I was surprised because it was Michigan was 1, Bama was 2, and I don't remember who 3 or 4 was, but I do remember where Cincinnati was, and none of you are going to like this, but Cincinnati was 9.
I wouldn't have a problem.
No, but they were 9 because their strength of schedule was so weak, and part of the BCS was not only what your record was, but what was the record of the teams you played against and the teams they played against, and it just destroyed Cincinnati's strength of schedule.
Well, you said none of us are going to like that.
I completely agree with that, Jeff.
You said none of us were going to like it. I think all of us are happy with that.
I mean, Cincinnati's sitting at number 4 with the 67th strength of schedule in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say what you want about Alabama's close wins, but their strength of schedule is number 4.
Yeah. But where's Georgia's?
I think they put Georgia at 3, didn't they? Did they put them at 3?
Put Georgia at 3.
Yeah. No, it was Bama's got the best one because it was Bama and then Michigan at 9, and I think Georgia was like 12. And then Cincinnati's 67.
I was about to say, I was like, Georgia's 3. I was like,
Which category are we talking about?
I know it was 4, 9, and 67. I don't remember where Georgia is. I think Georgia was 12, but I know it was 4 and 9 for Bama, Michigan, and 67 for Cincy. But I can't honestly tell you that I remember where Georgia was.
In which category? I'm confused on which one we're talking about.
Strength of schedule.
Oh, we're not even talking about the playoff rankings. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, we're not talking about strength of record. We're talking about just straight strength of schedule.
I think I'm going to flip it to college football now. I'm going to ask y'all this first. Do y'all think that Georgia can bounce back?
No.
They can, but only if Stetson Bennett is not taking snaps.
It's real simple.
I don't know who you'd start, but
I'll say this. I will say this. If Georgia loses to Michigan,
oh,
which is likely.
God, how much fun will that be?
Harbaugh in a national title.
Georgia 12-0, and all them fucking asshole Georgia fans who don't know how to win and don't know how to act, shooting their dicks off all through October and November, and then they choke away their last 2 games with the best team they're likely to have. That would be so delicious.
Tell us how you really feel.
Some of this, bitch.
I think Georgia's better than what they played against Alabama.
Tell us how you really feel, Jeff.
No, that's partially how I feel.
Well, let's say
y'all, I'm gonna hop out of here and join the chat. So I will see y'all later.
All right, see you, buddy.
Roll Tide.
Well, the last week leading up to the SEC title game, all Georgia fans like Chess and Trenches, all they could say was there's not a chance that Alabama beats Georgia, and they said we're winning this game. And all I said was
in golf.
Well, no, you basically agreed with them
in golf.
A fucking.
As a Bama fan, I would prefer giving my druthers if you're giving me the power of decision, and Bama beats Cincinnati. I would prefer not to play Georgia again. I don't want the rematch. I don't want an angry Georgia bent on revenge. But
that's not how they work.
But if you also are giving me the power of decision and you're going to tell me, okay, Jeff, Bama wins the Natty, now I'll let you decide which team you beat in the Natty. I want to beat Georgia. I want to do the stab in the heart and the stab in the throat. I want you to die a miserable death and just spend the whole offseason wailing in agony.
Well,
Jeff, I'm going to guarantee
Georgia,
you something right now. If
I think Georgia
and Alabama do meet in the national title, I guarantee you we beat them again.
Well, here's my point.
That's a given.
I want to know football-wise, not trash talk,
right?
Whatever.
Football-wise, I think it's very dangerous.
Alabama has 9 defensive starters back from last year's team. This defense played Stetson Bennett last year and this year. The final score was the same, 41-24. Stetson Bennett has 5 interceptions in both games. For football talk, what the hell are they going to do different in 4 weeks, in 5 weeks? That's going to change the outcome.
Change the quarterback.
Yeah, that's the only way. If you trot out Stetson Bennett in the playoffs, Alabama's going to beat them again, 41-24, and Stetson will have a couple interceptions.
I mean, I'll give Lou his credit, and it turned out exactly this way. Lou straight up said, if it comes down to Stetson Bennett having to win you the game, he can't do it.
Yes, that's correct. He did say that.
Because he spent all season long telling us that Georgia's
now
beat Alabama and all that. So,
you have to differentiate trash talk from actual football conversation. A lot of people can't, and I think you're confusing the two.
How much do you guys trust? And I know we were just talking about it, but let's just clarify something. How much on Michigan's, I guess, defense as a whole, but especially on the pass rush, how much do you trust them to handle Georgia's offense in this playoff game?
I think Georgia's strength is against Michigan's weakness, the run defense versus Georgia's run offense. So I think that'll help out a little bit. If we get JT Daniels in there, which
you're still screwed.
Isn't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think let's just call it what it is, Jacob. I think JT's not taking another snap this season.
He's not, and here's the thing: with Stetson Bennett in there, with Stetson Bennett in there, your offense is one-dimensional, and they can sell out the run on every play.
So it's settled. Georgia's not making it to the national title. I think Michigan's going to win that game, and they're going to play either Cincinnati or Bama.
Michigan has 2 NFL edge rushers, an NFL safety. Yep. They can rush with 4. They're going to, like Slim said, sell out to stop the run. And
their offensive line is strong too, man.
And they're going to tell Georgia, okay, Stetson, if you want to win today, beat us.
Yep. Football-wise, that's how I see it going.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they can, if their DN, if Ojave or however you say it, and Hutchinson, if they can get to Bennett and force him to move or rattle him or sack him without having to bring extra people, and can drop 7 into coverage, they'll pick him off 3 times and sack him 5.
Yeah. Oh crap. I gotta get some rest and get up for school tomorrow. We can keep talking, but I'm at least gonna end it on YouTube. So, final words for the actual broadcast. Roll Tide.
Roll
and
Tide.
happy holidays.
Go Dogs.
All right.